Welcome to NUIC Football, joined by Logan Swan. I am your host, Kyle Kampmier. Later in the show, once again, we'll have Joe Merdian and Jay Doyle take a look at the IFA State Championship. But in the meantime, we're going to recap the quarterfinal round. We're going to look ahead to the semifinal round as we begin to take a look at the whole picture as we get ready for the state championship. Before we get started, I just want to throw out a quick little side note here. This weekend, Saturday, at John O'Boyle Field, myself, Greg Armstrong, Zachary Shimon, and Matt Surdick are going to go live, along with Mitch Stormer, who will be on the podcast here, from John O'Boyle Field. We're going to give a game day type feel for this game. We're starting at 12:30 p.m. We're going to be finished by 2 p.m. So an hour and a half of full coverage, 1A through 3A, talking about the semifinal matchups, both North and South, all three brackets. We'll recap the IFA State Championship game briefly as well. And then to cap it all off, in traditional game day style, we're going to give you our picks as who we think are going to win this game. So tune in live. We'll get the links out later this week yet, but we'll have this show live on YouTube, and we're going to try to get it brought up both through NUIC Football and View from the West YouTube channels simultaneously, so you can tune in wherever to grab both views or as many views as you want and capture a much larger audience across the state. It's going to be a lot of fun. Obviously, those games are going to include Byron versus Richmond Burton, St. Joseph Ogden versus Tolono Unity, Wilmington against El Paso Gridley, Arthur Lovington, Atwood Hammond, and Moreau Forsyth. And of course, our classes here between myself and Logan, Lena-Winslow Stockton from the NUIC, Calhoun and Brown County from the WIVC, as we get prepared for an NUIC WIVC state championship game for the fourth time in the past 5 seasons. Logan, it's going to be a lot of fun. Looking back at the quarterfinal round, what game stood out to you the most last week?
We'll start with the one that the outcome did not surprise me, but the score did, and that was Byron winning 28-6. I said Byron by 2 touchdowns. I did not see Byron by 3 plus a 2-point conversion at some point. Byron did Byron things. They're loaded, and that's not to say IC Catholic isn't, because they are. They got a lot of talent, but I think this Byron squad kind of proved that they were the real deal, and all that talk of IC Catholic being top dog, and this isn't me dissing the CCL because they were battle tested, but no one can touch IC Catholic because they played the CCL, they played all these tough large schools close. I think that argument's out the window.
Well, it goes back to like the Bishop McNamara fan base too, that said that they would be able to play with IC Catholic, and for the most part they kind of did, but I never felt like IC Catholic was not in control of that game.
I felt the same.
Furthermore, Byron putting a statement down this week against IC Catholic that, has echoed the same sentiment that we've seen out of Byron the past few years. Hey, we're here and we're not going anywhere. I mean, you go back to 2021, they beat IC Catholic by a point on a 2-point conversion, going on to win state. 2022, they met up with IC Catholic in the semifinals. They got routed there. IC Catholic went on to win state. 2023, they get a 26-20 win over Montini Catholic. They go in and go on to rout state. And then last year, they had to play Montini again, and this time they come up short on the 2-point conversion. Obviously, Montini goes on and runs away with state. This year, Byron obviously gets IC Catholic again, and it's Byron big over IC Catholic, like you said, 28-6. So great performance there. Obviously, they're going to have another tough game this week that we'll talk about later with Richmond Burton. Take a look at another game around the area was your Calhoun Warriors going up against KZ Westfield. And that was a great game, back and forth. You guys pull it out 28-21 in a battle that we kind of anticipated was going to be that way as well. Give us your thoughts on that.
Yeah, it was. Casey's a really good football team. They're a great program. I didn't obviously Logan Walters posts like the summarizations of every matchup with like the playoffs, everything like that on the WIBC page, and I didn't I just glanced over at first. I didn't realize going back like they got a really rich. That's a rich history program. I didn't realize it till kind of afterwards. I knew they were a great program. Not saying they weren't. It didn't click with me. That's a really good team. They were all we talked about. They were like all seniors. That quarterback was by far one of the best quarterbacks I've seen in a while. That's not discrediting any quarterback I've ever seen. I mean, some of the throws he was making. I mean, he was their leading ball carrier and rusher, and out of an offense that is a winky style, wishbone eye. Their quarterback was their leading rusher. He was 19 for 59, and he was 5'11 passing. I mean, he was making plays all over the field. It was one of the more impressive performances I've seen from a kid in a while.
Yeah, I mean, it was just I wasn't able to watch the game as I was trying to keep up with basically 4 games in consecutive order throughout the course of the day. But I was getting the score updates on this one, and what a game, what a finish, and what a win for Calhoun as well. As you guys book a trip into the semifinals for the first time since what, 2016?
Yep, since 16.
Yeah.
It was nice. It was a good ride home. Big one this week, obviously, which we'll talk about later. But it was nice. It was exciting. It truly lived up to kind of the anticipation I had going on in my head, and I'm sure everyone else's.
On the Class 3A side, St. Joseph Ogden continued their magical run, entering the playoffs as a 5-4 14 seed, and now they've booked a trip back to the semifinals where they meet a familiar foe in their own rival, Tolono Unity. So it's kind of funny. We have 2 teams in Class 1A from the same conference taking part in a rivalry game on the north side of the bracket. 2 teams on the south side of the 1A bracket from the same conference, but opposite divisions going up against each other. And here in the 3A bracket on the south part, 2 conference rivals going at it as well. So, not really surprised, so to speak, that they're here. Initially, I had Benton picked to be here. Obviously, back in round 1, St. Joseph Ogden knocked off Benton with a field goal, and that was definitely the game I felt was the winner of that game was going to be here this weekend. And St. Joseph Ogden continues to punch that ticket and continues to move on, as I've had them as the picked team to win every round since that first round.
Yeah, we talk. I mean this. We talk about not wanting to play a 5-4 NUIC team in the first round, but the Illini Prairie exists, and it's pretty good. It's a pretty good conference. So you may not want to play a 5-4 Illini Prairie conference in the first round.
Yeah, it's okay.
That's all right.
Yeah, no, they're great. No, you're absolutely right. You nailed it on the coffin. They're a great conference, and they're definitely showing out here in these playoffs as, the favorite out of the conference met a hard road, Bloomington Central Catholic.
Yeah.
And the minute that they went to the north side of the bracket, that favorite from them kind of flailed up as they no longer were the favorite once they got into that north bracket. But hey, it is what it is. You got to show up and play the big games when they matter the most. And St. Joe Ogden's definitely done that, and now they get another shot to take on Tolono Unity.
Yep, definitely. Fun matchup.
So let's take a look at our Byron Wealth Management scoreboard from the quarterfinal round. Stockton and Lena-Winslow winning big as expected. Stockton beat Dwight 44-0. Lena-Winslow over Anawan Wethersfield 42-20. You take a look at some of this stuff, and everybody's talking about how great Lena-Winslow is playing now, and rightfully so, as they definitely are. I would agree with a lot of the same sentiments that they're probably the hottest team right now in Class 1A in these playoffs, as they are just cruising to victories. But everybody keeps bringing up the fact that, well, they've given up, 2 or 3 touchdowns in every game. So let's just rewind the tape just a little bit to take a look at what's truly transpired here in the playoffs. First round, they played Forston. They were up 48-8 with just over 7 minutes remaining in the third quarter to get that running clock started there. That game finished out to be 48-22 as Lena-Winslow got the clock rolling and then began subbing players in and out. Round 2, they played GCMS. They were up 43-7 with a little under 11 minutes left remaining in that game, and then they began to sub players out there. And this past week against Annawan-Wethersfield, they were up 42-6 at the end of the third quarter, and then they sub players out, and Annawan-Wethersfield was able to score 2 more touchdowns. So when you take a look at that, in the playoffs, starters versus starters, Lena-Winslow's outscoring their opponents 133-21, which is an average of 44-7. Now, granted, yes, Stockton's defenses definitely rose up. They've only allowed 3 points in the entire playoffs, which I'm pretty sure is the fewest amount of points allowed in the playoffs across all 8 classes. And it's 1 point a game. And they've outscored their opponents 96-3 for an average score differential of 32-1. But as many people have stated, this past week we probably saw the most complete Stockton victory that we've seen since that week 2 game against Lena-Winslow. And granted, there's been other games where they've definitely won big and they were projected to win big. But as far as like what this game meant, what it looked like on paper, Stockton was a 32-point favorite going into the game, and they come out winning by 44.
Yeah, I mean, obviously the 26-3 with Hayworth kind of sticks out for Stockton, but like learning that it was Hayworth really controlling the clock or just taking away time of possession from Stockton, that margin of victory is more impressive now learning about it like we did last week than it looked at the time. For Lena, like you said, I mean, they've been close to a running clock or had a running clock before they started subbing out guys, and then, young kids get scored on, getting people reps, get scored on, like, that happens. That's part of the game. That's how you grow your program. That's how you keep tradition rich. So it'll live up to the hype. I'm not worried about score differentials between Lena and whoever they've played the last few weeks. Same with Stockton.
No, it's going to be a lot of fun to take a look at this game and break it down. So, without further ado, we're going to be right back after this break and take a look at this rematch between Lena-Winslow and Stockton.
Hey there, local high school football fans. This is Sean Considine, a Byron Tiger and Iowa Hawkeye alumni, and now an LPL financial advisor. I'm passionate about high school football because it's the purest form of the game where communities come together, lifelong character is built, and the love for football runs deeper than the scoreboard. You can find me in my Byron office most days until I run off to football practice. I'm happy to talk about football or the markets. I'll leave that up to you. I want to wish everyone across Illinois a safe, successful, and memorable high school football season. Securities and advisory services offered through LPL Financial, a registered investment advisor, member FINRA SIPC.
Need a logo, website, or standout graphic design? Check out Nick at Volkert Design, your go-to for high-impact branding and design solutions. With over 20 years of experience serving businesses across Northern Illinois and Chicagoland, Nick delivers best-in-class websites, logos, and graphics that get noticed. Whether you're a startup or an established name, Volkert Design brings your vision to life. Visit Volkert.design today to see the difference top-tier design makes.
Are you looking to buy or sell a home in the NUIC area? Trust local expertise. Jess Schumacher with Remax Town, Lake and Country knows the market and understands the community. Whether you're upgrading, downsizing,
or buying your first home, Jess is here to make the process simple and stress-free. Put his experience to work for you today. Call Jess Schumacher with RE/MAX Town, Lake, and Country at 608-347-3659. Your hometown realtor, helping you find home where your story begins. Logan, we traveled to John O'Boyle Field, where our Jess Schumacher RE/MAX Town, Lake, and Country Game of the Week resides, as the number 3 seeded Lena-Winslow Panthers enter at 11-1. They go on the road to number 1 seeded Stockton, who enters at 12-0. Last week, obviously, we just said Lena-Winslow beat Anawan-Wethersfield 42-20. Stockton beat Dwight 44-0. Lena-Winslow is now making their 8th consecutive trip to the semifinals, and they're also looking to book their 6th consecutive trip to the state championship. On the other side of the ball, Stockton is making their first semifinal appearance since 2012. Also, in that 2012 season, Stockton did make it to the state championship that year, too. Just taking a look at a few similarities between these two teams. Back in 1994, these teams met up in the first round. Stockton won that game 12-7. In 2012, they met up again in the quarterfinals, where Stockton won that one 48-14. In 2013, Lena-Winslow won in the quarterfinals 24-14. In 2014, Lena-Winslow won in the first round 50-26. And then last year, these two teams met in the second round, where Lena-Winslow won 44-14. So Lena-Winslow is 3-2 in this series in the playoffs under Coach Rick Arendt. Lena-Winslow is 3-1, that lone loss coming in that 2012 season. Another side note, 1994, 2012, and 2024 are the 3 seasons where they played each other in the regular season and then met up again in the playoffs. The winner of the regular season game also was the winner of the playoff game. So, if history continues to repeat itself, well, Stockton obviously would look like the favorite to come out of this game. So, let's take a look at a couple players from last week that had big-time games. For Lena-Winslow first, Aiden Wild, 20 attempts, 261 yards, and 5 touchdowns in that win over Anawan-Wethersfield. Alex Schlichting added another 20 attempts for 135 yards and a touchdown there. For Stockton, they were led by Jack Mensendijk, who had 20 attempts for 157 yards and 3 touchdowns. Carter Blair added 6 attempts for 98 yards and a touchdown. Mark Detweiler had 3 attempts for 5 yards, but one of those rushes resulted in a touchdown. He also had 3 receptions for 37 yards. Eli Larson pulled in 2 passes for 55 yards and a touchdown, while Noah Larson was 5 for 9 passing for 92 yards with that 1 touchdown pass. And then he also had 32 yards rushing on 1 carry as well. So that gives you a look at what these two teams have done last week. A little bit of a build-up into this game this week. Obviously, I have a group of people that are going to be here to be live to talk about this game in much greater depth when we get to Stockton Saturday at 12:30 p.m. We'll be there well ahead of kickoff to bring this show live. So with that, I am not going to give my picks here on the show tonight. But at the same token, this is going to be a lot of fun, Logan. Give us your thoughts here, and then we'll take a deeper dive into some of these other numbers.
Yeah, the projections 28-24 Stockton, and then for HS ratings, and then Massey has it 34-28 for Lena. So either way you flip it, it's a coin flip game. Stockton is a 2-point favorite, enters as a 2-point favorite. I expect I expect a great game. I expect it to live up to the billing it's getting. Obviously week 2 happened, but I think this is not saying Stockton isn't different, because they definitely are, but I think this is a different version of Lena, especially what we've seen the last 2 weeks with their thunder and lightning type of combination with Aiden and Schlichting. But then you take a look at Stockton, they've had their kind of 3-headed to 4-headed monster, depending on how you slice it up, with Menson-Dyke, Blair, and Detweiler, and Eli Larson, of course, Noah Larson, the quarterback, who's just been great all year, steering the ship and just keep chugging along. So, whoever wins, it's going to be decided by a handful of plays, and it's going to be a great game.
Yeah, when you start to take a look and break down some of these numbers inside of these two teams, and we're just going to take a look at the straight starting running back duel that everybody's going to be talking about. And we'll start with Lena-Winslow. Aiden Wild is rushing the ball. He's got 1,782 yards on the season. He has 30 touchdowns entering this game. Running back mate Alex Schlichting has 1,396 yards and 17 touchdowns. So collectively, those two alone have rushed for 3,178 yards and 47 touchdowns on the season this year. Both these backs are 3,000-yard rushers for their careers. Both of these guys have eclipsed the 40-yard touchdown mark in their careers, and Aiden Wild may have already pushed past 50 career rushing touchdowns. I'll have to take a look at that number, but I'm pretty sure, and we'll just take a look real quick anyway right now, that yes, he is over 50 career rushing touchdowns as well. So, big season by both of these guys. Obviously, Schlichting was a little banged up earlier in the season. We are definitely anticipating him having more yards than where he's at currently, but still 1,396 yards through 12 games is still one heck of a season, regardless of the injuries. He's also averaging 11.7 yards per carry, which is tops among all running backs that have, over 50 carries on the season. So, leading the league, or the NUIC, in rushing yard average. Aiden Wild's also averaging 8.5 yards per carry. So, you're basically getting a first down or close to a first down every time you give these guys the ball.
Yeah. It's that 11 yards a carry is insane. That is crazy. I couldn't. That's nuts. I can't get over that. That's crazy.
Well, I'm glad that you said that. I mean, that's Alex Schlichting for you.
Yeah, that's insane. 11 yards a carry is nuts, and an 8 is just as insane when you think about it, because you're getting 16 yards every other time you're getting 16 yards every 2 times you give them the ball, setting yourself up in great field position. That's nuts.
So here's the funnier thing. Going into the season, Schlichting was averaging 13.2 yards per carry.
That's ridiculous.
Going into the season for his career.
Ridiculous. That's ridiculous.
So, in 11.7 right now, I mean, he's probably sitting right about 12.5 yards per carry on average for his career.
That's insane. That's nuts.
Yeah. And he, too, is starting to get close to 50 touchdowns. He sits at 46 rushing touchdowns. So he's only 4 rushing touchdowns away as well to surpassing that 50 touchdown plateau for his career. So unbelievable stat lines here for those two. Now, on the other side of the ball, Jack Menson-Dyke has rushed for 1,343 yards and 16 touchdowns. Carter Blair's added 717 yards and 7 touchdowns. Mark Detweiler has rushed for 482 yards and 10 touchdowns. So those three have combined for 2,000 548 yards, and 33 touchdowns on the season. When you take a look at both of these teams and what they've done passing-wise, for Lena-Winslow, Cash Lessman is throwing about 58% completion rate, 199 yards, 4 touchdowns to 0 interceptions. Noah Larson is throwing at a 61% completion rate, 1,015 yards, 18 touchdowns to just 3 interceptions. So where Lena-Winslow's not getting it in the air, Stockton is making up for that by more. So if you take a look at that, you're looking at 3,377 yards collectively between the top two guys for Lena-Winslow, plus the quarterback. You throw in the numbers by Noah Larson, and you're looking at 3,563 yards through the air. You have 51 touchdowns between their offensive duo for Lena-Winslow, and you have 51 touchdowns between the offensive trio plus the quarterback position for Stockton. So these two teams are putting up almost simultaneously the same amount of points. I believe when I looked at it last, Stockton was averaging 39 points per game, and Lena-Winslow was averaging 41 points per game.
It's pretty good. Those are all right numbers, I think. Those sound pretty good. Yeah, that's unreal, especially because they've both done it in pretty similar but different ways. When you specifically the passing attack that Stockton's had, like Lena, they've been pound the rock. They've gotten into throwing the ball more recently, which that's not surprising. You've talked about they got a quarterback they trust in Cash Lessman, and he's very capable. I remember I saw 3 for 3 for 26 yards. They're not home run hitters, but get a guy or two out of the box, make a defensive back or linebacker or safety think about it so they don't have to just come up with a straight fill. Give you half a second, whether people think it or not, is huge. So it's really, that's credit to Lena with how they've been able to do it, specifically just pretty much just being ground and pound. But then you take a look at Stockton, they've been so dynamic with it to where they can beat, they could probably beat a lot of teams with the throw. They don't need to.
Yeah, no, you're absolutely right. I think that for Lena-Winslow, we'll definitely see some additional options. I mean, when these two squared up back in week 2, Stockton was able to contain Aiden Wild to like 63 yards. And I think Schlichting had maybe 120 yards.
That sounds right.
And a lot of that yardage came off of one carry, which was like a 77-yard run where he got brought down at like the 2-yard line. That eventually set up an Aiden Wild touchdown run for their first score of the game, which ultimately was a huge response at that time because Stockton had been up 8-0, and Lena-Winslow went down the field in like 2 plays and then scored. Right, so I think in total they ran 4 plays. So, this game's got so much writing on it because you have the two teams that have been to state the most out of the NUIC. Collectively, these teams have been to state 14 times. Lena-Winslow obviously has won the most state titles in Class 1A history, so clearly the most in NUIC history. Lena-Winslow also has the most playoff wins in NUIC history. Stockton is right behind that. Stockton has the most playoff appearances in NUIC history. Lena-Winslow is right behind that. Just a lot of similarities between what these teams have done. and where they're at right now, this is the matchup everybody was basically waiting on since that week 2 game where Stockton won 38-14. So a 24-point win for the Blackhawks back in week 2. The big question is can Stockton replicate that performance? That's going to be very hard because, let's be honest, Larson was 8 for 9 passing in that game. Lena-Winslow was able to get big third down stops and create big long yardage situation for either third down or fourth downs that Stockton was able to capitalize on. That helped Stockton put up 24 first half points on their 3 possessions. They scored 3 touchdowns. To do that again, I think is going to be very tough for them to do. I don't see it being so hard for them defensively to shut down the run game again like they did. But let's be honest. Lena-Winslow is doing things more efficiently now than they were back in week 2 as well. And I'm not saying that Stockton's not efficient. Clearly they've stayed efficient and they've stayed effective. They've gone up against a couple teams that have definitely slowed them down here in the playoffs. And then they went up against Dwight last week and just steamrolled right by them as everyone had anticipated would happen. This game's going to be fast. I think this game's going to be definitely one like it was the first time. Stockton dominated the line of scrimmage. So if Lena-Winslow wants to get back, they have to win that line of scrimmage battle. If they cannot win that battle, they're going to be over with in a hurry, especially with their attack. I mean, they don't throw the ball much, and maybe that's part of the wrinkle package that we'll see is, what we've seen in Lena-Winslow in past years where they start to get seam routes to open up. We could see some quick hitting routes out of the backfield to help get the ball into Schlichting's hands at different times as well. I just think that there's a little bit there's some things that we've talked about throughout the season where I don't feel we've seen everything that Lena-Winslow can do. And there might be some tricks up the sleeve, so to speak, that Coach Aaron and Coach Benson can rely on offensively to help open up the offense a little bit more outside of just the natural part of it of winning that line of scrimmage battle. Likewise, Stockton defensively has just been, they've been tough, man. I mean, to go through the playoffs and only allow 3 points in the entire playoffs, and it was the first drive against a team you've never played against, and they still had to settle for a field goal, and they made it. But those are the only points you give up. It's pretty impressive, if you ask me.
Yeah, that is an impressive stat. Yeah, I think, what, not to run the old cliche, but I think once you get this kind of deep into the year, into these kind of games, it really comes down to 2 things most of the time, and that's who wins the turnover battle and who wins the line of scrimmage. I mean, that not to oversimplify it, but when you get to this time of year and typically in big games anyways, that's usually what it comes down to.
Yeah. So Stockton is going to enter this game as a 2-point favorite. Logan, we got 2 different projections here. I'll let you share the magic here.
Yeah, so HS Ratings has it as Stockton winning 28-24, and then Massey, I'm going off of most likely here, has it Lena-Winslow 34-28. So a 4-point game for Stockton and a 6-point game for Lena-Winslow, depending on which one you look at. So either way you shape it, it's a coin flip game. I personally think that is way too many points. in for both of them. But I think the margin of victory is in the general area.
In years past, we've definitely seen this game get up there, though, as far as points scored. I think that the first half will definitely be low scoring. And I think if we're going to start to see things get broke open, it's going to be in the second half. Obviously, last year, this game was won by Lena-Winslow 44-14. Looking at what Stockton has done defensively all season, I mean, they're allowing less points per game in the playoffs than they did on the season. In the season, for the season, I should say, they've allowed 7.1 points on the season. And they're only allowing 1 point per game in the playoffs. Likewise, scoring-wise, Lena-Winslow's averaging 41.2. Stockton is averaging 39.6. On the season, Lena-Winslow's allowed 14.8 points per game, so double what Stockton has allowed. But in the playoffs, starter versus starter, they've only allowed 7 points per game. So like you said, I think this is a very evenly matched game. I've seen people out there that'll say Lena-Winslow's going to win by 3 touchdowns. I've seen people say Stockton's going to win by 3 touchdowns. The majority of people, I feel, think that Lena-Winslow's going to win, just based off of experience, based off of recent history. But like I said, while Lena-Winslow football-wise has the championship pedigree that Stockton is touching for the first time since that 2012 season where they got runner-up to Maroa Forsyth, at the same time, you have a bunch of kids on that Stockton team that know how to deal with that type of pressure, as you have a lot of state championship caliber wrestlers on that team. So it's not like they're not used to having that big moment. And ironically, their coach for wrestling is the defensive coordinator on the other side of the ball for Lena-Winslow. So, there's just so many ties to this game. I've already got people asking me what they're trying to guess what the 50-50 is going to be. And I think if you get enough people there, we could definitely see over a $2,000 draw for this 50-50. And I know there's a lot of people that are well over 2 hours away looking to attend this game.
It is the game. It's the one that when the brackets broke, everyone had kind of circled. So I think it's going to live up to the instant classic that everyone kind of has pictured in their head. How it breaks down or how it ends, hopefully it ends in an instant classic fashion, but I think either way you're going to get a really freaking good football game.
Yeah, I agree. And I think, that old cliche too, where you can almost get so hyped that you psych yourself out. The team that comes out calm and collected, I feel, is going to be the team that will get the early advantage.
Yeah.
And with that early advantage, I also feel that the team that scores first might be the team that wins.
Whoever kind of has that poise coming out, like, not to say both teams are going to have nerves. I'm not saying that that's not what's going to happen, but who has the more level-headed, it's a long game, a lot of, like, especially, like, if said team is the one that strikes first, that goes a long way in these type of games, because it could come down to as many as 1 or 2 plays, like we've kind of all think it's going to go down. So I think more people than not would give kind of that aspect, again, based off of experience, pedigree, recent history, to Lena-Winslow. But like you said, this Stockton team has a lot of good wrestlers on it. They've had a lot of success this year individually, and they've been, and to credit them, they've been in a couple tight games, specifically that Dupec game. So it's not as if since week 2 they haven't been tested. They have.
Yeah. No, you're 100% right there. Yeah, like I said, I'm not going to give my picks tonight because I want people to tune into the live show on Saturday to get those picks, as we're going to do something we've never done before, collaborating with you from the West as well, and a different trio of contributors that we've had throughout the course of this season and previous seasons, all gearing up to help us out with this show. It's going to be a ton of fun. But let's take a look at the South bracket here, where we have the number 7 seed Brown County Hornets entering at 10-2. They're going on the road to our buddy Logan's number 1 Calhoun Warriors in Hardin, who are 12-0. Logan, I'm gonna let you take it away here.
So obviously last week Calhoun, like we talked about, won 28-21, and Brown County won 37-13 over Carrollton. Obviously, back in week 9, both teams met in Hardin. That was a 21-12 victory for Calhoun. I think both teams since then are different. I think both teams since then would say they're healthier, and I would think both teams since then would say they're also doing things that they weren't doing before better. So, even though week 9 wasn't truthfully that long ago, I think both teams, you can kind of look at them and say they're both playing at different kind of levels, especially Brown County, to just tip my hat to them. Going off of kind of what you said earlier, we've met 3 times in the playoff. Brown County leads that series 2-1. 1992 in the first round, Calhoun won that 43-14 on their way to a state championship. 2006, Brown County won 20-14 in the first round, and then 2010, BC won 25-6 in the quarterfinals on their way to a semifinal appearance. I think it was 2010. It was either 2010 or 2011. It was one of those two.
2011.
Don't quote me.
Actually, they were in the semifinals in both 2010 and 2011.
Yeah, I knew I thought it was 2011. I just fat fingered it. So 2011, my mistake.
Yeah, they lost to Tuscola both times.
Yep. Obviously, going off of that, Brown County last made the semis in 2011. Calhoun was 2016 in that game to St. Teresa. Just going off of some stats last week for both teams. Jack Sefton had 11 carries for 84 yards and a touchdown with 2 picks. Eli Staten had 9 for 73 with a touchdown. Trey Fullerton, who was their leading tackler at 12, tied for that, had 16 carries for 53 yards, but had 3 touchdowns. He was tied with Bo Little, who Bo himself had 1 pick and 1 forced fumble. Micah Henry, 2 receptions, 1 touchdown. And Vince Little was efficient passing, 4 of 6 for 52 yards with a touchdown. Defensively, they also had help from Bradley Market and Vlad. I'm just going to call him Vlad. I don't even want to butcher the last name out of respect to him. In these playoffs, this is the most impressive stat to me. In these playoffs, Brown County has 11 turnovers in their 3 games and have outscored opponents 101-21. That's obviously we've talked about Lena-Winslow playing at a high level and hotter than anybody in 1A. Brown County, if they're not the hottest team, or just a smidge below them, they're playing at a ridiculously high level, and I will tip my hat to them because it's been very impressive from that first game with Athens, the great win and great game over Camp Point when they won that 16-8 in the second round, and then last week they just kept it rolling over a fairly good Carrollton squad. Looking at Calhoun last week, Earl Elmore was 6 of 7 passing for 85 yards, 2 carries for 3 yards, but one of those was a touchdown. Jacob Brandon was 24 for 108 with 1 touchdown. That touchdown also broke the single season record for touchdowns in a season by a Calhoun Warrior with 24. Jack Good, talking about him, had 7 carries for 107 yards, but one of them was on a huge conversion on a fake punt in the fourth quarter, along with 2 rushing touchdowns. He also had 2 receptions for 32 yards. And then Charlie Matthews had 3 receptions for 50 yards. And Walter Pleister led the defense with 12 tackles, but the Calhoun defense also had 4 sacks and an interception. Calhoun enters as a 2-point favorite, kind of looking at what HS rating has, 22-21 in favor of Calhoun. And then Massey has 22-20 in favor of Calhoun. So, to me, coin flip game, 50-50 game, no matter how you flip it. I anticipate a great game. Obviously, a a great crowd. I think I did math. I think it's like 32, like 33, 34 cars already on the hill as of today, which is just insane.
So realistically, Brown County is about 75% run to 25% pass. What style offense do they typically run?
Wing T, it's wing T stuff. It's double wing T, one tight end, one wide receiver. It's wing T stuff. I'm pretty sure they've ran that since Coach Little's gotten there. I can't speak to the fact, but I'm just guessing. They're good at what they do. They're really good. They run just every kind of wing T style offensive play that you can think of. They've added in some new wrinkles since we've played them, specifically with some option game they have, and it's worked for them. It's got them a couple touchdowns. It's been pretty efficient. So they're a really, to me, they're a completely different team than when we played them week 9 because they're rolling.
Yeah, so speaking of Trey Fullerton, he obviously is the workhorse for the Hornets.
Yes.
718 yards on the season, 16 touchdowns. And then, like you said, Jack Sefton, he's more of the speed guy. 51 attempts, 677 yards, 11 touchdowns, 13.2 yards per carry for Mr. Sefton.
That's crazy. I did not have their season stats, but that's crazy.
And then
That is nuts.
Eli Staten is the third leading rusher, 532 yards and 5 touchdowns. So obviously a lot of that yardage is going to come between those 3 guys. Obviously, like you said, Brody Phelps, Bo Little also will pitch in there. But collectively between those 2, they've had a total of 58 carries on the season. Passing-wise, like you said, Vince Little, 55% completion rate, 724 yards, 11 touchdowns. So they can definitely get the ball in the air with some efficiency. And Brody Phelps and Bo Little are the 2 leading receivers. 156 yards for Phelps with the touchdown, 141 yards for Little with 2 touchdowns.
And he's really come on, especially these last few weeks. I feel like Bo, and this isn't discrediting any of their other kids because the other ones have been great all year, but Bo has been like the name I've heard consistently for them the last few weeks when it comes to just like make a play. Like last week, you had 12 tackles with a forced fumble and a pick on top of, what he's added in and offensively to help them out. I know when we played him week 9, he had a couple huge catches and a couple good runs. So he's really come on late in the year. So I can't talk about how much, like, to me, they're just a different animal. They're specifically, their defense has been great all year, obviously with the stats and the playoffs outline that, but offensively they're really clicking right now too. So if Lena-Winslow is the hottest team in 1A, I got Brown County just a smidge below them.
Yeah, they're definitely bringing
rolling.
It. And they definitely own the upset of the season with that win over Camp Point Central. So there's no doubt that, they were able to do that. But when you go back and look that game, Camp Point Central was able, while they lost, they held Brown County to 142 yards, I think it was, rushing.
I saw 170 total. So
yeah. So, I mean, there's definitely areas where you can find success here. As far as Calhoun, you were talking about Jacob Brandon and Jack Good, and of course Earl Elmore at the quarterback position. And it's going to be very interesting to see how both these guys line up and do some stuff. I think when I take a look at the full stats here,
they're really similar.
Yeah. Like you guys are.
We average 38.7 per game, 7.4 given up, and then they are scoring 38 a game and giving up 8.2. It's eerily similar.
Yeah, so I don't know. This game's definitely going to be a lot of fun. I don't know if there's truly a clear-cut favorite here either.
It doesn't feel like it. I truthfully, I didn't feel like there was, even though, they were 7-2. I didn't really feel like there was a clear-cut favorite kind of going into week 9 because I know what that first score against Camp Point says, and Camp Point did win that game 27-6. Like that was they won by 3 scores. But Brown County had multiple opportunities to give themselves a chance, and they just didn't convert on them. Whereas likewise, the second time they played them, they made the most of their opportunities, whether it's getting a turnover, getting a short field and converting, or bending but not breaking, or making sure that they did whatever they could to win that game. So obviously they're going to be. I mean, it's a semifinal game. I don't know how you can't be amped up for it. Both teams are going to be amped up, just like we talked about earlier in the other game. So I kind of like you. I think it comes down to who's kind of the most poised at first, and really who can kind of get that first punch in. Because is not to use the old cliche, but it comes down to the line play and turnover margin. And the last 3 weeks, specifically Brown County, they've done that.
Yeah, no doubt about that. Definitely excited for this game, obviously, and what can really transpire and happen as we move forward into the state championship game. Like I've said, I got friends on both sides of the field here. I know a lot of people on both sides of the field. It's gonna be a ton of fun for sure. Yeah, when you take a look here too, obviously Brandon is definitely your big workhorse. 1,253 yards, 24 touchdowns on the season. So, that's huge there. And then Elmore, passing wise, is throwing at an unbelievable 76% completion rate, 1,316 yards, 14 touchdowns to just 5 interceptions. So definitely very effective in that route. Obviously, you guys pass just a little bit more than what Brown County does, but like you said, effective and efficient wise, you guys are like carbon copies of each other.
It's very eerie how similar it is. It's like kind of both 1A matchups. You kind of take a look at, and like they're both eerily similar of each other, and it's gonna be a lot of fun. I can't wait. Definitely. It's only Wednesday night, but it's been a long week to say the least of excitement.
That's putting it mildly.
Yeah.
All right, let's take.
I'm sure both areas are just as jazzed up. I know they are. So I'm excited for it. Either way, we get our annual NUIC WIBC day after Thanksgiving hangout, which in the end, I think what both conferences wanted. No matter, obviously, both conferences won a state title, but I think at the end of the day, become fairly similar or fairly acquainted with each other to where it feels like a holiday tradition at this point.
Yeah, for sure. It's definitely a holiday tradition to be at the state finals. There's no better day that we look forward to. I mean, this is my 11th consecutive year going to the state championships, 10 in this job, or 10 doing this, I should say. It's not a job, but people think it's a job for me, but it's not. But regardless of that, yeah, this is going to be a ton of fun. Very excited for the matchups, whoever gets there, obviously. But man, these projections are crazy. Like
it's very close in both games.
Yeah, like you said, 22-21 on the HS ratings, 22-20 on the Massey ratings, both favoring Calhoun. And Calhoun is a 1-point favorite.
Yeah.
2-point favorite. No, they are a 1-point favorite. 1-point favorite in this game.
I thought it was 2. I must have messed up.
Well, let me double check here just to be safe. You're right. It is 2. You did not mess up. I messed up.
I thought it was.
So you're right. 2-point favorite. So let's take a look at that bracket here. We'll get that pulled up. And there it is right there for you folks at home. So Stockton is projected to be the winner by 4 points via HS ratings. Calhoun projected to beat Brown County by a point via HS ratings. So that is a look ahead without giving our personal projections or predictions on this game. Stockton, Calhoun, the favorites to get to that Class 1A state championship game next weekend in Normal. So it's going to be a lot of fun for sure. Let's take a look at Class 2A here as we'll run through real fast. Like I said, we're going to go through this in greater depth on our live show Saturday. But Wilmington, El Paso, Gridley. Wilmington is projected to win this game by 24 points. On the other side, Moreau Forsyth and Arthur Lovington Atwood Hammond. Moreau Forsyth projected to get to their 10th state championship game since 2006. They're projected to win that by 6 points. Any quick thoughts there, Logan?
Alla really disrupted what we thought was going to happen in 2A in the South. 2A South has been all over the place. I can't get it. Haven't been able to get a beat on it, so I don't know. I'm lost with it.
Well,
El
definitely
Paso's-
start with Flora getting a couple upsets in there.
Yeah.
I
El
think
Paso. Sorry, but
Oh.
El Paso Gridley, you have your great season. If you make this a competitive game, I will tip my hat to you.
yeah,
Not giving
especially
not
when you
giving
take a
anything away.
look at the experience level between both of these teams. El Paso Gridley is very junior heavy. They only have 2 seniors, a senior on each side of the ball, so it could be the same person. I haven't had a chance to look through everything that Coach Benedict has sent me so far, but I do know that they have 1 senior starting on offense, 1 senior starting on defense. The rest are all underclassmen going up against a Wilmington team where a lot of these guys returned off of a semifinal appearance in 3A last year, a 2A state championship the year before that. So definitely a lot of experience there, heavily favoring Wilmington there. Arthur Lovington Atwood Hammond making their first semifinal appearance since 2004. And, of course, they get to go up against a perennial power Moreau Forsyth, who is looking for their 10th trip to state since 2006. So that gives you a look at what Josh Joseph has done for the Trojans over the past 20 seasons. Unbelievable career there for Coach Joseph and what he has developed for Moreau Forsyth as well. And, Coach Jefferson is definitely getting Arthur Lovington Atwood Hammond going in the right direction as well. So, like you said, if Arthur Lovington Atwood Hammond can keep this game as close as it's projected, that will definitely give them opportunities where we could potentially see them get that upset and book their way to a state championship game, which Arthur Lovington, I don't think has ever been in the state championship. And Atwood Hammond went back in 1980, I believe. So it's been a long time since this school has tasted state championship level success. But Moreau Forsyth is the projected winner. Wilmington, Moreau Forsyth are the favorites to head to Normal next weekend. So we'll let that play out there, and we're going to take our look at Class 3A. And Richmond, Barton, Byron, definitely a matchup a lot of people are looking forward to. 1 seed, 2 seed there. So both favorites, or favorites by seeds, I should say, getting their way to the semifinals. Obviously, they were 2 of the top 3 ranked teams all year in the state rankings. So No surprise to see these two left standing. Byron, of course, having the harder road by a long shot in these playoffs. But they've really haven't made it look too hard. They beat Oregon, like, what was it, 63-15. They beat Dupec 38-12. They beat IC Catholic, which was definitely the hardest competition that they've had to really go up against. And beating IC Catholic 28-6. So Byron enters this game as the favorite, projected to win by 9. The other side of the bracket, Salona Unity making their run to state, as was highly anticipated despite being the 4 seed. They've been the favorite in that south side of the bracket ever since the brackets broke. I know people are going to look at me like I'm stupid. Well, Williamsville was undefeated. Well, Williamsville wasn't the favorite, folks. Salona Unity has been the favorite on that part of the bracket all season. And so wasn't really surprised by the win for the Rockets. And on the other side of the bracket, St. Joseph Ogden punching their way through. I remember before brackets came out, somebody had asked me what my thoughts on Benton were. And I said I could definitely see Benton making a run to the semifinals. Obviously, like we talked about earlier on the show already, St. Joseph Ogden winning that game with a field goal 17-14 and stole that semifinal chip for Benton. And like you said earlier, an Illini Prairie rematch here in the state semifinals with a shot at state on the line. Whoever wins that game will be making their 7th trip to the state championship game. Both teams are 0-6 in state championship games, so the winner is also going to be looking for their first opportunity to win a state title as well.
Yeah, I think I said it when we talked about it round 1. I think I said I think I picked St. Joe's, if I remember right, and I thought that they could make the run, and they certainly did. Definitely a tall task ahead of them with Tolono, but Monticello played them close last time in a rematch, so big rivalry game. I think it'll be a good one.
Yeah, I think it will be too. Obviously, Tolono Unity is favored by 23. There's already a lot of people saying that game is going to be closer than that, which, hey, I'm not one to argue. Obviously, like you said, the Tolono Unity Monticello game was a lot closer than it was projected at as well. These two teams last met back in, I think it was week 4 or 5, and Tolono Unity won 40-10. So there is definitely a large gap that St. Joe Ogden is going to have to close up in order to get that upset. But we've seen wilder things happen already in these playoffs, like you stated or alluded to. So it's going to be interesting either way we look at it.
For sure. It'll be a fun one.
All right, so that gives you a look at Class 1A, 2A, and 3A. Like I said, we're not going to give any picks tonight. If you want our picks, join us at 12:30 p.m. this Saturday. We'll be live at John O'Boyle Field with the NUIC View from the West game day show live at John O'Boyle Field in Stockton. We'll be live for an hour and a half. We're going to, like I said, we'll recap IFA. We're going to recap and then preview Class 1A, 2A, and 3A. All semifinal matches, all 3 classes, and then we're going to close it out with our picks for the game as well. So it's going to be a lot of fun. We've never done it at this level before. So bear with us if we do have some mistakes. Hopefully we don't, but you never know. We could, we may not, but it's going to be a lot of fun regardless. But tune in. We'll get the link sent out there as soon as we can, once I get everything loaded up into YouTube, and we'll be there. If you feel the need to want to join us at 12:30, I don't know if they'll let you in, but because I don't remember what time gates open. So you might be able to come, you might not be able to come. but definitely tune in regardless. It's going to be a ton of fun. We're excited for it. Definitely giving it a feel of excitement that we hope the game brings, and ultimately it does deserve. So it should be a ton of fun. Logan, obviously by the time we go live, you're already going to be on the field getting ready for your game. So you won't be able to join us, buddy, but we, as always, as we've done every week throughout the course of the year, I'm going to do it once again. I want to wish you the best of luck this week, to you and the Calhoun Warriors. Obviously, you're going up against one of my good buddies, Jared Hoots and his Brown County Hornets. But you get to stay home and get another WIBC team to come to your place. So enjoy that environment, and hopefully you guys pull out the win, because I don't want to see you in the press box on Friday. No, I'm kidding. I do, but I don't. You know what I mean.
I get what you mean.
All right, buddy. Well, we're going to have Joe Merdian and Jay Doyle joining us next to talk about 8-man football when we return. Have a good week.
Life comes with a lot of big decisions, from protecting your home and family to planning for the future. That's where Tyler Hoffman with Country Financial comes in. As a local agent, Tyler knows our community and is committed to helping you build a plan that's right for you. Give Tyler Hoffman a call today at 815-248-2188 or stop by his office in Durand. Tyler Hoffman with Country Financial, protecting what matters most. Are you looking to raise funds for your program? Look no further than Leading Edge Fundraising, helping teams and programs raise more with less hassle. Whether you're gearing up for a new season or trying to hit a financial goal, Leading Edge has the tools, products, and experience to get you there. From youth clubs to varsity programs, they've helped teams across Illinois maximize profits and minimize stress. Want fundraising that actually works? Go with the local experts who know how to win off the field too. Contact Brandon at 563-514-1647. Leading Edge Fundraising, raising the standard. Reach out today and take your program to the next level. When it comes to concrete floors, don't settle for ordinary. Upgrade to extraordinary with Diedrich Epoxy. Whether it's your garage, basement, shop, or business, Diedrich Epoxy delivers durability, style, and a flawless finish built to last. Locally owned and trusted, they'll transform your space with professional epoxy flooring that stands up to whatever life throws at it. Take the first step today. Call Diedrich Epoxy at 815-239-1158 and bring strength and style to your floors. Need a fresh look? Look no further than Neff Paints, where quality meets craftsmanship. From gyms and locker rooms to living rooms and home projects, Neff Paints has you covered with top-tier products and expert service. Trusted by local pros and proud supporters of our area athletes, Neff Paints brings the durability, color, and finish that lasts. Ready to get started? Call Skylar at 815-541-7338 and take the first step toward your next transformation. Neff Paints, locally owned, community-driven, quality you can see. We joined Joe Merdian and Jay Doyle once again to talk about 8-man football, except, fellas, this time we're heading to Monmouth. The state championship game is here, and for the third time in 5 seasons, we have 2 NUIC teams representing the conference at the IDFA state championship game. Does it get any better than this, Joe?
No, it doesn't, guys. You got Polo and Amboy going to be playing Friday night, Monmouth College, kind of the two, let's just be honest, the 2 giants of 8-man football since 2019. I don't think anybody would argue that. Hard to believe they have not met at Monmouth yet. And they've only met once. This will be their second meeting in the playoffs. So, it should be fun Friday night. Can't wait for it, and ready to break this thing down, Kyle.
Jay, what's your thoughts here, man?
Well, like I said, it kind of went how everybody thought. In the fact on the Polo side, the Amboy Milledgeville game, it ended up being 18-8. There were a lot of just big plays in that game if you watched it, that kind of turned the game back and forth. But shout out Lopez, the running back. You know, we were talking earlier about best backs in 8-man football, and he put on a show on Saturday that I think put his name with the top backs in the state.
Yeah, there's no doubt about that. 29 carries for 201 yards. We'll touch on that more in a little bit, but yeah, Lopez was definitely the workhorse for the Clippers on Saturday afternoon, that win against Milledgeville.
Well, when I got the stats from Amboy, they had him at 30 carries for 206 yards. So,
Okay, well,
either way,
either
Tomato,
way, yeah.
tomato, right?
yeah, it don't matter. That was a hell of a performance. Obviously, Amboy getting the revenge from week 1 with a 18-8 win over Milledgeville, reversing a 30-22 loss to Milledgeville back in week 1. And Polo shutting down that Ponies offense 38-0 and keeping George Bailey under 70 yards. I think he was even under 60 yards, wasn't he?
Yeah, we had him for 20 yards in our stat sheet. I think the TSSR team had him for 27 yards. So either way,
Yeah.
I mean, the thing was he only had the 6 carries. So Marco defense was able to take him out of took South Fork out of their game plan, what they've been able to do all season. That was run Bailey. And they just weren't able to do that in the game on Saturday at South Fork.
Yeah, what a performance by Polo. Obviously we'll touch base on that here in just a little bit, but you know, let's just actually we'll talk about it right now. Joe, you were there
right
for the game. And give us a little bit of insight from what you saw from Polo on what they executed well against South Fork.
Yeah, guys. So, you know, the defensive game plan that the Marcos had just worked to perfection. You know, they weren't going to let Bailey beat them. By the stats we were keeping, guys, between George Bailey and the quarterback Brody Van Hoosen for South Fork, we had 13 different times that one of those two guys was tackled for a loss by the Polo defense. 13 times. You know, so South Fork was behind the chains quite a bit there in that ball game. And that, you know, you got a defense, you know, as respectable as Polo's is, when you put them behind the chains like that many times, you know, that kind of correlates with the scoreboard, obviously. But it wasn't just one guy for Polo making the plays. They had several guys, you know, Wyatt Placknell, Damon Rao, Ethan Dewey, Esteban Salinas from that linebacker spot. The one big run that George Bailey did have, it looked like he was going to go all the way, guys, for a touchdown. And JT Stevenson, the defensive back for Polo, chased him down from behind. Who knows what happens, guys, if Bailey scores? Because at that point, I believe it was only 16-0. You know, if Bailey scores there, who knows what happens, how that changes the game.
It would have been 38-6.
Well, I mean, maybe, Jay. I don't know.
Maybe 38-8. We'll give them the 2-point conversion.
Nah, but my point is never give up on a play because you just never know. But the other thing, guys, and this isn't going to surprise anybody, Polo controlled the clock, exactly what they want to do. Jay, I know you've coached plenty of football. 24 minutes and a half, right, in a high school football game. In that first half, Polo had the ball for 18 minutes and 45 seconds.
I like that.
I mean, so, you know, that also had a lot to do with Bailey only having the 6 carries, obviously, in the ball game, because South Fork never had the ball in the first half. You know, so also Polo in this game put together 3 drives over 90 yards in the ball game. So very, very impressive there too as well.
Just grinding it out.
Well,
Yeah.
I watched both games, and that's what was great about both. If you're a football fan, it wasn't an air out whatever game. The Milledgeville Amboy game was. I mean, that was cruising along. The Polo South Fork game cruising along. But what I noticed more so, we're talking Polo South Fork. What I noticed, and maybe, you know, bystander going by, that just being a observer, right?
Mm-hmm.
I like to watch body language. as like when you watch a football game, and we're going to watch some good football games this weekend. Body language is key when you're watching, and putting your will onto another team.
Right.
It was evident early. It don't matter how many rallies, how many whatever you have. If you come out and you get punched in the mouth, it's
Right.
how you're going to respond to that, right? And what I noticed early on in the game, and watch the game, watch it in a rerun. Polo is running from huddle to line, play. They're amped up. They're running back to the huddle, even on defense, right?
Right.
South Fork, everyone walking around, kind of like talking to each other, because it was that like 3 to 5 yard, 3 to 5 yard. And then they get it and you could see them kind of like talking, hey, you got to make that tackle. And it just kept going. And when that happens, it takes a team to come together, and that just didn't happen. Like they allowed the snowball to keep getting bigger, and you just seen the Polo, like they made plays. Mumford made plays. They passed the ball as little as they needed to, but when they needed to for the touchdown, where
Right.
it was a big hit. I mean, you see the video of it, and you hear somebody saying, "Oh, big hit." It's like that's watching NFL football when you want to watch it on Sunday with poor tackling, where you try to make the knockout punch. Athlete makes the play and he goes into the end zone. I mean, like
Right.
that kid from Polo took the hit and made a touchdown. But you just seen, for me, body language wise, Polo went into that game as the aggressor and was the aggressor all day long with churning the clock, 18 out of the 24 minutes and a 38-0 win. You can't say you're one play away or two plays away when the score's like that.
Yeah, that was the other thing. You talk about controlling the clock. We talk about the game Lopez had for Amboy. Mercer Mumford for Polo, guys. We had him for 27 carries, 25 carries in the first half, guys. 25 carries in the first half. It's not like Polo's doing anything fancy or secretive.
No.
They're going to give the ball to Mumford until it didn't work, and it just kept working, So, and South Fork just didn't have an answer for it. They just couldn't put enough stops together.
All right, so either you added a carry to Mercer stats or Mike forgot to add a carry to Mercer stats.
Well,
because
there was a bad snap in there, Kyle.
Ted gave me 26 attempts for Mercer.
There was a bad snap in there. We gave it to Mercer, so I don't know. That might have been where the discrepancy is.
Again, tomato, right? Tomato.
But either way, he only had 2 carries the second half because he was cramping up a little bit. Jordan Reed got going a little bit there.
Jordan Reed had a big gain.
He did. He had a 93-yard touchdown run, actually.
Yeah, you get to halftime and you're doing what you're doing. I think then it becomes everybody wants the ball and everybody wants to make a play. You could just feel it there was never a sense of urgency from South Fork, and I think that's what, in watching the game, and you're watching from a TV and you're not there. And I know they had a big crowd and they were trying to get them, but it just at no point did I feel a sense of, hey, this is a stop we got to make, or this is a drive we got to have that you see the championship teams have, right?
Right.
Like that's what was so cool. You watch the any game, 11-man, 8-man, and that team has that drive and you just see them locked in. I never seen that the whole game, and that just, they just didn't have it that day. And Polo did, credit to Polo. That's what they did.
Yeah, and guys, all the respect to South Fork. They had a great season, finished 11-1. They had, the whole town, the whole county was there supporting the Ponies that day. It was small school football at its finest as far as the South Fork fans went. They packed that place. But unfortunately, Ponies, season comes up a little short.
So I did notice, not to interrupt you, but I'm going to interrupt you. I did notice that Polo did not heed Jay's advice. They were out on the field when the fireworks went off.
Yeah, we had to talk to Ted about that. They need to come out with their own.
They actually didn't take the field till about the 17, 18-minute mark, though. They were over warming up on the side, though, for most of warm-ups. So
there you go. See, Ted was trying. He was trying, but you got to come out at some point, right? Like
That's
Oh, yeah.
right.
they,
That's
they,
right.
they were all listening to me of who was coming. So I guess no matter what, it worked. Whatever he did worked. Keep it going.
Yeah,
I
whatever
did get
they did at work, because they were ready to go right from the opening snap. So
I did get a message from somebody that they said that they enjoyed listening to Jay say, "When the fireworks go off, I am the firework."
Something like that. Yeah. Like I said, it was a great game, and like you said, take nothing away from South Fork. But that was Kyle's pick. We'll leave it at Kyle's pick. And he was drinking the Kool-Aid. I think it just continually shows what type of football you gotta bring to the table at this point in the juncture, and what some of the teams up here go through with the schedule they go through, and what they do. And that's not knocking anything, because you look at football in general in the 8-man and the 11-man, and we said it before. Here's your shot. You want to talk about it, and you want to be up there. There's only one way to do it. It doesn't matter what I say. You can get pissed off what I say or Kyle says or you, Joe.
right.
You win. You win it, and you do it however you can. And when you don't, you can't say anything other than we have another NUIC matchup in Monmouth for 8-man. Yeah.
Yes, we do.
Yes, we do. And Joe's still smiling after that playoff night when we seen the projections come out.
I know.
That smile hasn't left Joe's face from that night.
It hasn't.
No.
Joe talked about it back on the playoff show. All you gotta do is go back and hit rewind.
Yep.
How can you not like being Polo right now?
That's the first thing I said when Joe walked in. I said, "You gotta like that, huh?" And you just gave me that look, Joe.
Yeah. Hey, there's been plenty of years where Polo, Amboy, and Milledgeville all been on the same side. So
Yeah, and that's not to take anything away, because I'm going to say right now, would you be shocked? I would not be shocked if Polo wins it on Friday night. They're playing right now with house money, baby, and
They're definitely playing
they're playing as good a football as they have all year. They're clicking when they need to click.
right. And there's no pressure on Polo. At the beginning of the year, did people think Polo's going to be good? Yeah, but I don't think anyone thought they'd make it to the state championship game or they'd win the semifinal game 38-0. I mean, nobody in Polo thought that was, going to happen. So, there's no pressure on Polo going into Friday night.
I might have to rewind it. I think I said over 30 they'd win by. I could be wrong. I didn't say running clock.
I'm saying at the beginning of the season, Jay. At the beginning of the season.
I think
we had Polo ranked number 3 all season.
I think if you take
but a clear number 3.
This is Joe trying to get that like us against them, but Joe, you guys have played it. You guys haven't lost in the first or second round. You're always there.
That's true. That's true.
Literally always there.
Yeah, you're always there. So you can't play you're playing an Amboy team who's been there the last 3 years.
Right.
So I mean, nobody can play like woe is me here.
No.
It's two good football teams. It's the two best 8-man teams in the last probably 5-6 years.
Well, every state championship game since 19, either Polo or Amboy's been in it. And now this year in 25, they're both in it. So there's, and some people don't count that 2018 year, just because there was 6-8 teams, Kyle, maybe.
Yeah, but there was only 4 teams in the playoffs that year. They did a first round and then a state championship.
I kind of count starting in 19 when it expanded, and there was 12 in the playoffs. And then obviously in 21, it went to 16. But so you look at since it's expanded, either Polo or Amboy has been in the state championship game.
Yep.
So, and now they're both in it. So,
yeah, and they've been.
I mean, those are the facts. I'm not sitting here.
You're spitting facts always,
pumping
Joe.
up Polo or pumping up Amboy. It's just, I mean, that's the facts.
Well, and you would be hard pressed. I would
wipe that off.
I would be hard pressed. You tell me, other than you, Amboy and Milledgeville, who was the one team that you think could have been the 3 over you guys all year?
Yeah, I mean, I don't.
And and that's just one of those things. It was gonna be who's gonna be on the same side of the bracket,
Right.
and the other one was gonna make it. And that's why when it came
Right.
out that you guys were by yourself and Milledgeville Amboy, it was like,
I think I'll say it. I think that South Fork definitely was the team that had the opportunity, and they proved it, and they got there. When the opportunity came, they couldn't compete.
no, and that's why I said the 8-man game has gotten better. The 8-man game is clearly better 1 through 16.
Way better. It's way better.
But your 1 and 2 and 3
Are way up here.
are still 1, 2, and 3. And your 4 to 8, 4 to 10 are, a
Definitely,
drop down.
But they're definitely more
Balance.
comparable.
Yes. Yes. But I just think everybody has not caught up to it, and they will continue. I mean, you'll continue to see it get better, and it's better than what it was, in 2018, 2019. But
wait till we see Dwight in the playoffs next year. Another story. Anyway, that one hasn't gone. It's being discussed. But
what's their enrollment?
212 this year.
That'll be the next topic.
Oh, Jay, not tonight. No. No.
No, we're not going there tonight.
That's for the after show.
The after show. All right. So anyway, I would say that if you had a team, it was going to be South Fork, because let's be honest, the state rankings were 1, 2, 3, 4, and it was Milledgeville, Amboy, Polo, West Carroll, and South Fork jumped in there. And granted, between South Fork and West Carroll, even in our state rankings, which has a lot more published buy-in than what your guys' podcast was putting out, because there was just 3 of you doing it, which you guys did a great job with that as well. So I'm going to give kudos and credit to you guys for doing that. I just think that when you have a state ranking that has more involvement, like ours did, where we had 8 members on staff, and granted, all 8 people that we have are from around the state, and they're watching small school football. I think you get a bigger thing there. But South Fork definitely, I think you guys did have South Fork above West Carroll in your poll, where it was just the other way around for us. So, but regardless, we had people that had South Fork above West Carroll, and other people had West Carroll above South Fork. So it was very actually balanced when you actually broke it out as well. I just didn't put up the voting results like what AP does. But maybe next year I'll just start putting points by everything, so everybody can see what the points are.
And Kyle, I'll say this. You look at all the teams from the South the past 5 years that you thought, okay, maybe this team's the team this year. You had Martinsville a couple years ago. You had St. Thomas More a few years ago. I still feel like this South Fork team, you had Pawnee last year. I feel like this South Fork team, maybe, Kyle, was maybe the most talented of all those teams that I just mentioned. And I could be wrong. It's hard to compare teams from different years. But you just look what South Fork did this year. They had George Bailey. They had a great defense for the most part, So, but again, all those teams I mentioned have come up short for whatever reason. Kind of what
I
Jay's
agree.
talked about.
I think that they're the most balanced, and let's not forget about Decatur Lutheran in 2022 with Leighton Miller either.
Yes.
Because they were the 1 seed that year. They did go undefeated. They beat Milledgeville by 2 points as well, which definitely shocked everybody when that happened. And, I mean, granted, that was a West Central year, thanks to Polo. No.
Joe's taking.
Jeez.
I didn't say it this time, Joe.
No, you didn't.
I
didn't even see you nudge Kyle for that one.
No.
I was talking.
My hands are here.
I was talking to Cliff Bardell, and I think it was like a week or 2 ago, he goes, "Man, you had to bring up 2022, didn't you?"
Yeah.
But obviously that still lives in infamy in Polo.
It's gonna.
I think I think it's we had. It just brings me back to a comment that was made about, what these kids go through and everything like that. And things like, these games are important, and sometimes you never get over some stuff. Like,
No.
you get over it, but you never get over it, right? Like,
Right.
if you're a competitor, you just don't get over things,
Yeah.
and I don't know if that's okay. I don't know. I don't get over things, I still
I
have
think
things
it
that,
is okay. I think that's what fuels the fire of rivalries, to be honest.
so.
I mean, hell, I got people bashing me because I said something about hatred, and they think that automatically I'm talking about hating people.
Yeah, and there's
like, you're out of context.
yeah, there's
here.
a difference of, a hate and a hate, right? Like, we should be able to justify that of,
Yeah.
it's the Amboy and Polo are going against each other, and they're going to give everything they got, and when they're done, they're just 15 to 18-year-old kids that are going to give everything they got, and
Right.
somebody's going to be excited, somebody's going to feel disappointed, and in a week they're going to be playing basketball.
Right.
Less than, right? Like,
Yeah.
kids move on a lot quicker than
Adults.
adults do.
Yeah.
And that's the thing. It's like, and we, talking about that, the funny part about the Lena Stockton, they'll be wrestling together in
A couple weeks.
a couple weeks.
Yeah.
So
Yeah,
it's like,
that's true.
yeah. So
One's going to get a head start in the wrestling room.
yeah.
Anyway, all right. So we talked South Fork Polo. Let's talk about Amboy Milledgeville. Obviously, that was a game that Amboy scored right away in the first quarter. Took a 6-0 lead. But then Milledgeville got stingy like we anticipated they would and kept it at a 6-0 game all the way through the third quarter, and we enter the fourth quarter. And then finally Lopez gets in for a second touchdown of the day to take the lead 12-0. But then Milledgeville responds with a big play. They get the touchdown. They get the 2-point conversion. I think it was just over 5 minutes left in the game when all this transpired. Now it's 12-8. Yeah. And now it's a 12-8 game. They go for an onside kick. They recover the onside kick.
Yes.
And now all the momentum's on their side.
Yeah.
They start driving the ball. But then on a 3rd and short, a snap goes over the head of Spencer Nye and drops him back like 14 yards, I believe is what it was. And all he could do is fall on the ball. So now you set yourself up for a 4th and long on what would have been a huge potential 3rd down conversion. And it just turned the game right back around in the Amboy's favor. And then Lopez busted off another touchdown with just under a minute left to make the final score 18-8. But man, what a battle this game was. Were you able to watch any of it, Joe?
Yeah, actually, we were on the way to South Fork, so I listened to almost the whole first half, and then I went back and watched it Sunday morning. But guys, we talked about the Polo defense. How about the Amboy defense, though? I mean, Evan Flanagan was all over the place on defense for the Clippers. That Milledgeville first possession, he was in the Milledgeville backfield. And then on 4th down, Trevor Stenzel blocks the punt, which sets up Amboy's first touchdown. And again, guys, we've talked about Amboy's special teams all season long. They're either, return a punt, return a kick, blocking a punt, whatever it may be. And that was a huge play early in the ball game. And guys, I had, and by my stats, Amboy held Milledgeville to 3 and outs 4 different times in that first half. 4 straight times in that first half, Milledgeville had a 3 and out. Now, that's playing some defense there when you're holding Milledgeville at 3 and outs.
Yeah.
So, I mean,
Yeah,
very impressive performance by the Amboy defense in that first half.
Yeah, the unfortunate on the Milledgeville side of the block, and then just when you thought they were going to make that run after the onside kick, because they had a big 1st and goal stand against Amboy that they held them, and then they had another, maybe it was 2, and then they had one where they took it out of Lopez's hands at the goal line.
Yeah.
I don't know if that was the same. I think that was two separate.
That was towards the end of the third when they took it away from Lopez. That was a goal line stand. It was still 6-0 at that point.
Yeah, and it just like you just felt like that was like a game changer, and then you thought when they got the onside kick they were going to make a play, and they tried a halfback pass that was just out of reach, and then it was like another play, and then a snap over, and then it was just like you're like okay, and then you have to waste your timeouts, and then you got to try to bring everybody, and it just like a couple of those timeouts you would like to had on defense to get it back, and just ran out of time on the Milledgeville side, but without seeing a lot of them because yes, they're play farther in the south side. Jose Lopez is one of the top backs I've seen run the football all year long, and I didn't get to watch a lot of him, but I think that's the difference you see when you earn your stripes when you play what you play, right? That when you play against the teams you do against, and you have big game. Jose Lopez in a game to go to state, 30 carries, 206 yards and 3 touchdowns, and he fell forward a lot. Like they had him and he pushed his legs through, and he was the difference maker all day long on offense for Amboy.
Well, and how about guys, Amboy rolling out Jose Lopez in the Wildcat? It sounded like for the first time all season long. I was listening to the broadcast there in the car on my way to the Polo South Fork game, and the Amboy announcer said that, Amboy's ran Wildcat a little bit, but that's really the first time they put Lopez in the Wildcat. And I don't know if you guys noticed, a lot of times when they did that, they had Evan Flanagan in to block, and he would pull, and Lopez would follow him. Like, I don't know how you're supposed to stop that.
Well,
I mean,
it kind of resembles what we're starting to see Polo doing. I don't want to start getting into that matchup just yet.
Right.
But when you move Plackno into that up back position and you have Rao at tight end, and now you're basically replicating the exact same thing.
Yeah. Yeah. I would agree with that.
That will lead to some great talking points later in the show for sure.
Yes, it will.
But man, again, hats off to Coach Roble and his staff and his team. We said it before, last year they got that playoff monkey off their back. They broke through the quarterfinals. They got to the state championship. This year they followed suit. They were the number 1 ranked team after week 1. They carried that throughout the entire course of the season. They also went up against one of the best teams in Missouri, were able to pull out a win there. But then it comes back to our 2-time defending state champs in the Amboy Clippers, and they seek revenge in a big game. And let's be honest, I mean, regardless of who was going to win this game, at least the game itself lived up to the hype and the billing that we thought it would.
Yeah, there's no doubt. I mean, we knew it was 2 good defenses. Now, if you would have told me it'd be 6-0 at the end of the third, I don't know if I would have thought that good a defense. But it was such a battle in Amboy on Saturday, and kind of tell what you said. Just hats off to Milledgeville. Great season. You got some guys there, Carl Livengood, Spencer Knight, Connor Johnson, Evan Shank. It's feels like we've been calling those names for more than 3 years. I mean, and it's a team that people in Milledgeville will remember for a long time for sure.
And rightfully so.
Yeah, oh yeah, without a doubt. So
I mean, this game here definitely stirred up echoes from the 2021 state championship game as far as the defensive play on both sides of the ball.
Right, exactly.
And it's always tough to see a team get beat like this. Obviously, there was a lot of comments on social media blaming refs and all this other stuff. At the end of the day,
well, 2 things you're going to get in a game like that. On the losing side, yes, there was a tough pass interference, and there was another couple ones that, not there seeing it, probably tough, right? But I you never walk away thinking refereeing cost you a game. So you sometimes have that when on a losing side. I don't think the coaches are going to call it there. They didn't play well enough offensively and score enough points, right? They didn't do enough on the first half. They didn't complete enough big balls, have enough big plays. They didn't break a tackle, right? They didn't do those things. And I think on a coaching side, that's what you'll see. But you're going to get that in the comment side. You're going to get that on one side. And on the other side, you're going to get how hard each team played. And you feel great about it because you're not going to get that on the losing side because you lost and you don't need to hear that crap, right? Like you're going to get those comments from the other side of how great a game it was played and two battle games and everything like that. And that's the last thing if you're at Milledgeville you want to hear because it's like you just got your heart ripped out with a group of boys that put it all on the line all year long and came up short of what their goal is. And for both sides, both things just don't need to be said. We know it was a great game. We know they played hard. Congrats on both sides, and you move on because the tough thing about it again when the parent side or the other side, things are said that shouldn't be said, and just let it be. Just think twice before you type.
Yeah,
that should be a hashtag or something.
T-shirt idea.
T-shirt.
Next year, T-shirts.
Because the wounds are still deep. Yeah, deep and fresh. Like, I don't need to be told how hard I played on a loss because I know I lost, and I lost to a team that, you might have been able to beat and you didn't, and you feel terrible. And as seniors, I mean, for Milledgeville, that was a senior-laden group. Amboy they bring a ton of talent back. And that's that'd be a later thing for going into next year with what they have. It's like nobody wants to talk about that. It's like two great teams, two well-coached teams, two great coaches that do a great job of not, and either side will make excuses for a loss and will credit the other for a win. And that's what you want leading your team. And everything else can just be
left as is.
Leave
the game on the field.
Yep.
All right, you guys ready to break down the state championship game?
Yeah, let's do it.
We're then ready.
All right, we'll start breaking this game down when we return right after this. If you or your loved one has been injured, you need someone who will fight for you. Reese & Reese Injury Attorneys have been serving our community for over 40 years, standing up for people when they need it most. They know how to handle the insurance companies and get results, so you can focus on healing. Don't face it alone. Call Reese & Reese Injury Attorneys today at 815-968-8851 and let their experience work for you. Thinking about buying or selling a home? Trust the team that knows this area better than anyone. Best Realty. Whether you're looking for your first home, upgrading for more space, or relocating, Best Realty is committed to making the process smooth, honest, and successful. With deep roots in our local communities and a track record of results, Best Realty isn't just in the business of homes, they're in the business of helping families take the next step. Best Realty. Local experts, real results, real people. Call today and move with confidence. When it comes to planning for your future, you want someone you can trust. At Prairie State Investments, Mark Pfeiffer is here to help you build a plan that fits your life, your family, and your goals. Whether it's retirement, college savings, or investing wisely for tomorrow, Mark has the knowledge and local commitment to guide you every step of the way. Don't leave your future up to chance. Call Mark Pfeiffer at Prairie State Investments today at 815-668-8131 and start investing with confidence. Our Prairie State 8-man game of the week takes us to Monmouth College at April Zorn Memorial Stadium, where the 3-seeded, number 3 ranked Polo Marcos enter at 11-1. They are taking on the 5-seed, second-ranked Amboy Clippers, who also enter at 11-1. Obviously, Polo got here by way of a 38-0 win over South Fork. Amboy beating Milledgeville 18-8, booking their trip here to the state championship game. The last time these two teams met in the playoffs was in the 2023 semifinals. Amboy won that matchup 40-6. And when you take a look at the playoff history, Joe, kind of like what you were talking about a little bit before, you have the two most prestigious playoff teams in IFA history going up against each
Yes.
other here in this state championship game.
Yeah, all time in the IFA playoffs, guys. Polo is 16-3. Amboy is 16-2 all time in the IFA playoffs. Of course, Polo's been in 1 year longer. But I mean, it almost leave you speechless, Kyle, when you say those numbers. I mean, that is just, I don't even know what to say about that. You know, like we said, you kind of said it best, the two most prestigious programs, you know, and, you know, these two teams both got great players. And I think one thing that needs to be mentioned here, guys, is how good both these coaching staffs are as well. You know, again, these teams got great players, but these coaches, both these teams got a lot of respect for both coaching staffs. They put their team in the best position every week to win ball games. And you know, it'll definitely be fun to see the coaching matchup on Friday night as well.
And they both know the best way to get there and how to do it. So they're not
Yep.
gonna know how to get there. That's for sure. You know, yeah, two of the best teams in 8-man, two of the best teams in 8-man this year. Very exciting, and like you said, it's gonna be a great, great football game. It's gonna be close. I don't see this one being a multi-score win for either because they both have so many good playmakers. It's just gonna come down to, again, like we talked last week, and Polo was able to do it, stopping Lopez. You know, how you got to stop
Haley.
what they do well, and that is,
Oh yeah, yeah.
you know, and if Polo can do that, you know, which they've shown, it's gonna be one hell of a game.
Yeah,
Yeah, for sure.
go ahead, Joe.
Go ahead, Kyle.
It's going to be a lot of fun. There's no doubt about that. These two teams obviously bring a lot of playoff moxie with them. And at the same time, they both bring on great defenses as well.
Yeah.
When you take a look at the number lines between these teams, you have Amboy averaging 54.7 points per game, allowing 10.7 points per game. Polo scoring 43.8 points per game, allowing 14.5 points per game. So defensively, these two teams line up. Offensively, I mean, let's be honest. You put Amboy into the Northwest Division, they're not going to probably average 54.7 points per game. It's probably going to be a little bit lower because they would have to go through playing a Polo and a West Carroll, and they're just not going to put up the 68 points in those games, I don't feel.
Right. Yeah, I mean, again, guys, the way these two teams played defense in the semifinals, I mean, both were pretty much just flawless. I mean, you didn't see many missed tackles. You'd hardly see any missed assignments. You know, just precision by both these defenses. You know, and these front lines for both of these teams are just so good. Yeah, I mean, it's going to be a fun one. I can't wait to see the defense and yeah, I think you're looking at a lot of ball control and a lot of short possessions. You know, I think, you know, you're going to have first downs going to be hard to come by, guys. I think for both teams, I really do.
Yeah, I think that's what's going to be fun about it. Obviously, it's going to be the old cliche because you got two power run style teams here.
Mm-hmm.
Obviously, Amboy does like to rely on that play action. Coach Payne said it himself on the playoff show as well, that they want to run, but they want to open up play action. And let's be honest, their play action goes to one guy. Cody Wynn has been the benefactor of the majority of their pass plays in the air. And, you know, this past week, I believe Tanner Welch was 1 for 4 passing.
Mm-hmm.
And so they threw 4 times. They're only able to complete the 1 pass. So credit to Milledgeville because they definitely took that away from Amboy's arsenal. And they were able to really keep Colt McCoy and Caden Heath in check, but they couldn't account for all 3. And Jose Lopez had a huge day that led to the score differential that they had and booked the trip for Amboy to this game.
Yeah, you talked about Cody Wynn. I think Amboy went through probably at least a 3 or 4 game stretch where he was the only player to catch a pass for Amboy. But yeah, like you said, Kyle, Milledgeville, they did an excellent job. You know, they tried to get it to win a few times, but Connor Johnson was there all over him. You kind of would expect the same thing from Polo if I was to guess. Mercer Mumford would draw that assignment of Cody Wynn. They'd line Mumford up on Wynn's side. That's just a guess. But we'll see how that plays out. But these two defensive lines, guys, you look at Polo with Wyatt Plackno, Damon Rao, 2 All-Staters. Amboy, the same thing. Evan Flanagan, Trevor Stenzel in that line, an All-Stater, honorable mention All-Stater. I mean, it starts up front, guys. That's small school football. You got to win the battle in the trenches.
Yeah.
And it is gonna be fun to see how these lines match up against each other, because there's gonna be big plays made by Flanagan and Stenzel and by Rao and Plackno. And when you get in a 2nd and 12 instead of a 2nd and 7, how are you going to respond when you're Amboy or when you're Polo? I think first down, guys, who wins first down is a big key in this ball game. Are you going to put yourself in 2nd and 6? Are you going to be in 2nd and 11? I mean, because both of these teams are much more suited for 2nd and 6 than 2nd and 11.
I think the biggest thing that has shocked me with Polo is their D-line. I think when you just look at them, they don't give you that presence of that defensive front that's going to stop the run well, right? They're
Right.
pretty athletic, fast, and those things, not what you normally see with like run stuffing, right? And they have done such a great job of filling gaps and getting where they need to be. I think that has been the biggest surprise to me in watching Polo and how well they just play football collectively as a group, as 8. They do everything well. Their D line plays well and flows. Their linebackers flow. They do a good job stopping the pass and not giving up the big play. Like you talked about earlier, South Fork game, a guy busted, and then 8 out of 10 games, probably every game before the Polo game, when Bailey breaks that one, he took it to the house.
Right.
That's the difference between when you're playing a Polo. They make you earn it, and they're going to make you earn it for 4 quarters. And that's where they're playing their best football at the right time. And that's one of the biggest things to do is peak at the right time. And that's what I talked about what you felt a little bit with Milledgeville going to the Amboy game, that they weren't peaking at the right time, where offensively they just weren't clicking, right? And it wasn't, and it just a feel you have going in, and they struggled offensively. Amboy played a great game. They played a great game, and we're only able to get 6 points out of it. My question is, if you go into that game and the tables were turned, if Amboy plays South Fork and Polo plays Milledgeville, and let's play that game, Amboy takes care of South Fork. That I don't think that needs to be a discussion. But right now, playing, how do you think that Milledgeville Polo game would have went? And I would have, still been how I picked, I wanted to see Milledgeville make it and all the reasons why I had for that. But I think Polo would have came out of that with a victory. I just think they are playing such good football and sound football, and they're hard to pick against.
Yeah.
And it's just a outsider view, but you always look at that team at the right time that just has it. Injury wise, Joe, you could probably answer that. They look healthy.
Yes.
Right? They're healthy. They do a lot of things well. They're going to a title game that they've been there before. They have 0 to lose. All pressure is on Amboy. They're the back-to-back. And you just see so many times where they're just going to have a great week of practice and go into Monmouth and be like, let's just do it.
Yeah.
And that's what's cool about it. That's all I got, baby.
Yeah. So going back to the pass game for Amboy, I was taking a look at that. 25 pass completions on the season. 18 of them have gone to Cody Wynn. 605 yards. Of the 18 catches he has, 10 of them are for touchdowns.
Right.
So Polo's definitely going to need to put some high emphasis there, obviously, because you want to be able to shut down that play action. Likewise, on the other side of the ball, Mercer Mumford has 16 receptions for Polo for 343 yards and 5 touchdowns. The rest of the team has 16 receptions on the season for a combined 6 touchdowns.
Right. Yeah, I mean, I think this is a game where, guys, both teams are going to be stacking the box, right? I mean, I don't think that's any secret. But yeah, maybe the game-changing play of the game could be when, Amboy gets Win on a play action and Polo has a lapse, or vice versa. Polo, gets Rao out of that tight end position when he's been blocking the whole game or something like that. But, I think the strategy has to be both teams stack the box, and again, you got to stop the run. You got to win first down, and it's going to be fun to see for sure.
Yeah, I'm just taking a look at a few things here, and you take a look at let's take a look at Polo, for instance. Rushing the ball wise, Mercer Mumford, JT Stevenson both have over 1,000 yards. Mumford is at 1,498 yards, so he's 2 yards shy of 1,500 on the season. But let's be reminding of that fact. He missed 3 games, and
Right.
he's at 1,500 yards. JT Stevenson on the other side of the ball, or on the same side of the ball at the quarterback position, 1,095 yards. He has 3 less carries than Mumford. Those two combined have 42 rushing touchdowns. You throw in Jordan Reed into that mix, collectively, they have 50 rushing touchdowns and 3,174 yards on the ground. Amboy is led by Jose Lopez with 1,544 yards on the season, 26 touchdowns. You add in 946 yards from Colt McCoy and 634 yards from Caden Heath. Those two are also over 3,000 yards at 3,124 yards. And collectively, they have 58 rushing touchdowns.
Should be a quick game.
It can't be much more even.
Exactly. It's pretty well evened. The only difference is that Polo uses their quarterback in a rushing attack. Amboy does not. But like you said, we've seen them go in Wildcat quite a bit. We've seen it with Colt McCoy earlier this year. Now we just got to see it with Jose Lopez's too. So they've been doing the Wildcat all season long. It's nothing new. They just changed up who they ran it with.
Yep.
And with that, we've seen Polo also pull out the Wildcat with Mumford, but at the same time, they can continue to run with JT because he's been able to lift up that rush game and take pressure off of Mumford. And they've been able to do your basic wing T principles and utilize misdirection. We saw it here 2 weeks ago in their game against St. Anne, where they set up in power right and they were able to fake to the right and cut back to the left. And, we'll see Amboy do the same things, which we're already seeing, like we were starting to discuss. We've seen Wyatt Placknell get moved off the line and into an up back position, basically into an offset eye style run game where he becomes the lead back right off the tail of tight end Damon Rao.
Yep.
And they just continue to run right up that gut. But at the same time, then they can get the cutback as well. And I tell you what, I told you before, both Eli Perez
and Esteban Salinas have really stood out a lot. And Eli Perez is on that offensive line. And then you have Dewey at the other tight end as well, or a tackle center, whatever. But he has also been able to get some big blocks to help open up holes in the run game as well.
Yeah, for sure. I mean, the ability for Polo to be able to move Placknell in the backfield and not lose much on the offensive line has been huge, So you wouldn't have been able to do that if you didn't have other guys to put on that line. You mentioned Dewey. Esteban Salinas had a nice year. Danny Johnstone, actually a senior, was an honorable mention all conference guard. So Polo's
Yes, I did forget.
not overly huge on the line. Obviously moving Placknell off, you're moving a 6'3", 250-pound lineman in the backfield. A block from Mumford. 6'3", 250.
Yeah. He's a big boy.
So
a little bit.
Yeah. So you got him leading the way for Mumford, but again, that offensive line, it still starts with them guys. And the other thing, Kyle, you mentioned JT Stevenson, what he's been able to do on the ground. Polo didn't use him really much on the ground last week. He ran a couple of quarterback sneaks. One he actually broke for 59 yards on some missed tackles by South Fork on a quarterback sneak. South Fork eventually caught him. But Polo didn't really show much with Stevenson in the run game against South Fork. Now, obviously, I realize Amboy's probably watched every play from Polo all season, and they're going to see it. But this last game, they didn't really show anything with Stevenson on the ground. So, yeah, I mean, it's gonna be fun, guys. You got the guys up front for both teams. You're gonna see a lot. I think you're gonna see a lot of Wildcat from both teams. Both teams stacking the box defensively. Yeah, it's gonna be a lot of looking in the mirror, I think, and it's gonna be a great defensive battle.
Yeah, I think so too. With that right side of the line was Stenzel there, and then you got Evan Flanagan there for Amboy. That these two offenses are basically replicating each other.
Mm-hmm.
Now, what I do like what Amboy does is they do have that true ideal three-headed monster, so they can set up. We've seen them set up in a wing formation. We've seen them set up in I formation. They're able to basically run a belly or a trap that is able to then allow for cutback lanes to open up as well, so they can give that misdirection look that you're familiar of seeing on veer and wing style offenses. And Amboy does such a great job of perfecting it, which at the same time leads to their play action opening up as well, because you're doing the same thing with Welch at quarterback, where he's giving the dive here to the right, or he's faking the dive to the right to give to the cutback going the other way. And then they replicate that exact same thing, and all of a sudden he's on a bootleg, and you got Wynn running downfield unguarded, and you got a touchdown pass going on.
Right, exactly.
Which becomes very hard to defend when you see run, and all of a sudden oh shit, they're passing.
Yeah.
It reminds you of another team in this area that kind of does the same thing in a game that we're going to talk about in a little bit on the 11-man side, where you see the exact same things, and they have a lot of success when it happens.
Yeah, I mean, and that's the thing, guys. I've kind of already talked about both these defense. You have to try to stop the run. Obviously, I mean that's no secret. But these defensive backs cannot fall asleep, because that could be the play that changes the whole ball game. So we'll see. But
just ask.
I'm sure both coaches
Newman
probably got something up their sleeve here, if I were to guess, that maybe they haven't shown yet. But who knows? We'll see. That'll be to be determined.
So going back to like Carthage Newman in that 1998 state championship game, Coach Unruh was able to do that play and caught Newman sleeping, which led to the game-winning touchdown for Carthage. And
their first of 3 consecutive state championships. By the way, Coach Unruh is going to be in the box with me on Friday, him and his son John. So I'm very excited to catch
Had to
up.
give that shout out.
Definitely excited to get caught up with those guys once again.
Yes, sir.
Joe, you there?
I'm here, buddy.
Oh, okay. You look like you're
I thought
sleeping.
Jay was getting ready to say something.
Oh,
so
yeah.
I didn't. It just Kyle had to work his way around to big time us there that he got guys showing up into the box with him on Friday night.
That's just funny.
Jay, that's the thing. You think you know a lot of people, then you talk to Kyle Kampmier.
Oh yeah,
Realize how many connections he's got. Yeah.
Us other guys, we'll be coaching. I'll be coaching basketball Friday night, but I'll be paying attention. I'll be
rubbing elbows with the celebs.
Oh yeah,
of Illinois high school football.
Big timing.
Only game in the state, right, Kyle? There's no 11-man games Friday night, is there?
No 11-man games this week.
Nope.
And
okay.
Yeah, I even had
what a showcase for Polo and Amboy.
Even had Eddie Tim reach out about the 8-man stuff, so maybe we'll have to funnel some information for him there too.
I like it.
Talk about big time.
Big time. Big time. He's big. Kyle's big time in this, Joe.
No. No, I'm excited. This is going to be a ton of fun. Obviously, another thing that we're going to do is between myself and Joe and Zachary Shimon, we're going to have a live show preview ahead of the game day preview show that TSSR Game Time Live will be doing. That way we're not interfering with their broadcast at all, but we're going to go live at 5 p.m. We're going to go through conversation pieces, what we think can happen, kind of what we have covered here, but just on a game day vibe. And, as we get closer, obviously things can change weather-wise. Weather right now looks to be pretty decent, high of 46, low of 34, 30% chance of rain, about 5 to 9% wind. So it looks to be like it's going to be a really calm night, which and definitely definitely a warmer night than what it'll be cold, but warmer than what we're used to seeing this time of year.
Be a lot warmer. It wasn't 21 down there, guys, when it was Polo and Orangeville. That's for sure. That was a cold one.
Yeah, it was.
Well, it was very cold the year Amboy and West Central went too, because I remember people asking.
Oh yeah, wasn't it real windy for that one?
Yeah,
I remember
wind
was
people asking if they
one.
were going to cancel the game because of cold. Like, where are they going to cancel it to?
That's the world we live in now. It snows. We got to cancel school and everything. We got to cancel football games. I mean, that's what kids love.
Yeah.
I mean, for a Friday night game, what's nice about it, there's no rain, no nothing. It's going to be a great night of football.
And on the nice new turf there.
The nice new turf from Monmouth.
Yeah, it again, guys, I've mentioned it several times over the years. Just an absolutely wonderful place to host the 8-man state title game. A college field, but you still have that high school atmosphere, and you can't beat that. And something these kids will always remember that playing this game on Friday night for sure.
Yes, they will.
Yeah, I was talking to Coach Braun, hoping that, he's the head coach for Monmouth College, and I was hoping that they would be around, but once again, he's having a lot of success there at Monmouth, and they're in the playoffs again, so they'll be hitting the road. And unfortunately, we'll miss him, but Nathan Believa, the sports information director at Monmouth College, definitely sets us up with a lot of great stuff and good hospitality while we're down there. So, like you said, a great job by Monmouth College and their staff and what they do to provide this game for all the fans. And we're going to have over 3,000 people there guaranteed once again. Both sides, Amboy Polo, travel very well. And, of course, being the state championship game, how could you not? Plus, you're going to have a lot of area teams coming to the game to take a look. Plus, you have players from other teams that will be there to receive their all-state recognition and awards as well. So, always a fun night. And, Coach Lawler and a lot of people that help him out do a great job of putting this event on for sure.
Yeah, without a doubt. I can't wait, guys. It's going to be fun. Should be a great atmosphere. Should be a good game. Um, it guys, it kind of has the same feel as the 21 game. Two teams that run the ball, two teams that play good, solid defense. When Polo and Orangeville played in 21, kind of, to me anyway, kind of has that same feel. I don't know what you guys think, but
Yeah,
I'm not saying
Orangeville
it's
was
going
the
to be 12
favorite,
to
and Polo
7.
came away with the win.
What's that?
Orangeville was the favorite, and Polo came away with the win.
Yeah, yeah. Well, I wasn't going to say that,
Well,
Kyle,
I did.
but you're right. That's what happened.
So Amboy enters this game as a 3-point favorite. Projections have Amboy, real projections say 35-27, but neither really kick extra points, so I rounded up 36-28. I don't know if we're going to see that high scoring of a game.
No.
Man, that seems like a lot of points the way these two defenses are playing, doesn't
That's
it?
what I'm saying. I don't think we're going to see that high scoring of a game. Point differential, definitely right within the ballpark of what I anticipate this game being.
Right.
Amboy is the favorite to win. They're the projected winner. So, who's your pick to win, Joe? We'll start with you. I know who you're
Why?
going to pick. I shouldn't even
I'm taking Polo. I mean, I got
Joe's
to,
gonna
right,
be on the
guys?
radio if he picked anybody else.
I mean, I cover the game for Polo. You know, my boys both played for Polo, both part of the state championship teams before. That's where my heart is. It's no disrespect to Amboy whatsoever. I mean, got a ton of respect for Amboy, but I'm going to say Polo. Again, guys, I'm expecting a low-scoring defensive battle. I really am. One or two plays could change this whole game. Like a 20-16 type game is kind of what I'm looking at.
I like it. All right, I'll go next. We'll save the Cowboy J here for last. You got, like you said, two run games here. Two teams that can definitely give us a great state championship game. I think when the brackets broke out, if you are a ball knower, you would have projected these two teams to be in the state championship game. And if not Amboy, it was Milledgeville. Either way, everybody, I think, was pretty much handpicking Polo to be there. Like we've already stated, you got the two most prestigious and prolific teams in 8-man history squaring up against each other. One team's going to become the first 3-time state champion. One team is also going to get their 17th career playoff win. One team has an opportunity to be a 3-time state champ. That's where my pick's going. I'm going with the Clippers. I said it back on the playoff show. I was going with the Clippers. I'm sticking with that pick. I got Amboy for the 3-peat. You're up, buddy.
Looks like Jay's got to break the tie here, Kyle.
Well, like I said, for me, it's pretty simple. I have wrote a new score down here, Kyle. You can see it. But what was my score below it that I had written down earlier?
20-16.
I stole your. I'm sorry, Jay. I mean to steal your thunder.
No, you didn't, Joe. But we're on the same wavelength, right? And
yeah,
I'm going to go with. So we're not the same. 18-14, but it's going to be somewhere in that vicinity. It's going to be somewhere in there to where I said last week. I don't think I said it really on air, but I said it to you. I said, don't be shocked if Amboy wins by 20. Like, I mean, I had picked Pope Milledgeville because of you just wanted something, right? And I wanted it, and I didn't pick. And Amboy will probably be happy I don't pick him again because I play by what my gut tells me. And in the two big games this weekend, my gut tells me the same thing. And it tells you, what do you do in every big game? You get your lucky sweatshirt on, you do your lucky thing, and you believe what you believe in. And Polo has always been, when they've gotten there, they've always been able to get the job done. They've always been able to, when the knock is on the door, they answer it and they get the job done. Every time they find a way, even when they're not picked to win. Amboy's the heavy favorite. Amboy's the better team. when you look at their backfield, Lopez is probably easily one of the top backs in the state. Should have got more recognition. They have everything on paper that would tell me to pick them, but my gut tells me every time you don't pick against something that you believe in, and that's Polo. When they get there, they're going to find a way to win. And I have Polo winning 18-14, 20-16, but I'm going to go like an 18-14, 22-18 type game. And Polo getting their three-peat.
That's going to be fun, guys. I can't wait. Kyle, I can't wait to see you down there Friday night.
I know. I'm excited. I've already talked to Zachary Shimon, so he should be there. Oh, I think he's planning on being there around 4:00. So I'll probably match that and be there about the same time. I was thinking 4:15-ish, but either way, I know Coach Lawler's going to be there around 3:30, 4:00. So either way, it gives us plenty of time to get things set up. That way we can be out there and be live on YouTube. So I'll get that link put together. We'll get that blasted out across their social media. So those that are either A, traveling to the game, or B, can't make the game, can tune into our show and our preview of the game ahead of the TSSR Game Time live preview show. And then once you're done listening to us, you can jump over to the main broadcast where, once again, I think myself and Joe are going to be guests on that pregame show as well.
Yeah, I think that's the plan.
So should be a lot of fun.
So, always look forward to talking to Dwayne.
Oh yeah, I love Dwayne. Yeah, I love Dwayne. I love the production that he does, and there's no better place to get 8-man football coverage than TSSR Game Time Live, and that's because of Dwayne Hewlett, and he does a fantastic job of getting that coverage, especially when we get to the playoffs. He does a phenomenal job. Despite the lack of people he has available, somehow he manages to make it happen. And hats off to him for doing that all the way around.
Hey, Jay, maybe for old time's sake, between now and Friday night, I'll go back on YouTube and watch the 2021 game just for fun.
Yeah.
What do you think?
You can watch it. I'll stay away from it. I got basketball to watch.
Poor Jay.
Yeah. I deserve a lot of the stuff that comes to me, so it's okay. I probably bring it on a little bit, Joe.
No.
I'm okay with it. But yeah, I mean,
no, but all joking aside, I really think it's going to look a lot like that game, Jay. I really do. And I could be wrong. I don't know.
I talk about Lopez, but there's just Mumford always seems to get something, right? Like he always is making a play. He's always, and it's like, I don't know if it's him wearing the 83 number or the colored shoes or what it is that you're like, all right, what's happening? But before you know it, he's running down the sideline and getting the job done. And like Kyle said, it's this time of year, it's just getting the job done, finding a way to get it done. And one of these teams are going to do it Friday.
Yeah. Yeah. It's going to be fun. Like you said, Kyle, someone's going to be a 3-time champ.
Yep.
In this short history of 8-man football.
We're setting new history.
Yeah.
And let's not forget, Kyle, Amboy with a lot of juniors, they'll be the favorite going into next year, no matter what happens Friday.
Yeah.
Yep.
These Amboy juniors, Kyle, could be looking at a dynasty here. Could be in the middle of a dynasty right here.
Aren't they already? I mean, this is their 4th consecutive trip now.
It is. I know. I'm saying if they win this one, those guys could leave high school with 4 state championship rings.
It's very possible. I'm
just saying it's a possibility.
It's very reminiscent of when I left Monmouth in 2023. I left that game. I jumped on an Instant Reacts podcast with the View from the West guys. And on that podcast, which is still out there, so you could go back and listen to it again. Check the tape,
baby. Check the tape.
I said that in 2024, Amboy was the odds-on favorite to get back to state the night I left that game. And, of course, they repeated. If they get the job done again this year, regardless, win or lose, they are going to be the odds-on favorite in 2026.
Right. Now, they can't worry about that for the 2 hours of game time on Friday night, but I just did want to point that out.
Yes. No, you're right.
It's
You're right.
It's an obvious, when you have the talent they
Yeah.
have at the junior level. I mean,
It's a no-brainer.
yeah.
You just can't
Right.
let it get to your head and swell up the brain cells and make yourself be higher than what you really are.
Well,
You just got to take that week by
all
week
the other
approach.
all the other teams managed to make it happen. The Lee Wins of the world, the Byrons of the world, year in and year out.
Right.
They're where they expect to be.
Hey, and going back to that word hate that we talked about before,
Kyle, be careful with that.
this is exactly what we're talking about. It's the context of rivalries and gamesmanship, and of course where Amboy's at, they're at an elite level where when you win and win and win, you start to become the hated. And let's be honest, the NUIC in general, we're the hated across the state because everybody wants to stand up and try to knock us off our throne. And
Right.
for us as fans, it's great. It's awesome. For us as conference alum, it's even better. But at the same token, it says a lot that you have to be able to prepare yourself and go out there and compete knowing you got that bullseye on your back every single week. So,
Yeah, without a doubt. Guys, one more thing on this game real quick too. I think, I talked about these coaching staffs and these teams, and I think you're going to see nothing but respect from each of these teams towards each other on Friday night, from the time they get on the field till the minute the trophy presentations are over. There's going to be nothing but the utmost respect for each of these teams towards the other team. I would be shocked if I see anything out of the ordinary from either one of these teams on Friday night.
No, the only place that normally comes from is on the Facebook warriors that will say stuff. But yeah, no, they're two class act programs, and their kids are too. And
Right.
it's and that's the thing in the games we've seen. It normally doesn't come from the players or the coaches. They all know better. Normally, it will come from somebody else that will say something.
uneducated.
Well, yeah, that like we said, think twice before you type. That yeah.
Anyway,
Moving on.
this is going to be a great week.
Great
Two
week.
NUIC teams going for a state championship. Let's look at the other NUIC game in the 11-man side of things real quick.
Yep.
Lena-Winslow Stockton at Stockton. Obviously, we're going to do a live game day show at John O'Boyle Field Saturday at 12:30 p.m. Part of that game day show will be a recap of this state championship game, and then we're going to take a look across Class 1A, 2A, and 3A at both semifinal games on both sides of the bracket, all three classes, and then we're going to go through and give our picks. So I'm going to reserve and withhold my pick for that show
Because you can make it there.
because I can make it there. But
Joe will still
Joe?
be celebrating the win from Friday
I
night,
could.
so he won't be able to make
I'm
it
planning
either.
on. I don't get to go to football games as a fan too much, but I am planning on going to this game on Saturday, Stockton and Lena, assuming nothing else comes up.
well, Joe,
so I'm
if
excited.
that's
Just
the
'cause-
case, you can meet up with me. I got a pass for you already.
All right. But no, guys, this is tough. We just mentioned Amboy, how in the middle of a dynasty. How about Lena-Winslow? 8th straight trip to the semifinals in Class 1A. I mean, that just speaks for itself. Something tells me, though, guys, I don't know. I'm picking Stockton in this one. I don't know what it is, but I'm going with Stockton.
It's your pick,
Well,
buddy.
what's always crazy is I'm the Lena guy. I'm normally not the Lena guy, and all of a sudden I hear all of you, with your Stockton love, and I said before how much I'll be the first one to say I'd love to see Stockton win. I'd have zero whatever, right, if they won, because Coach Downey and his staff, they got a great staff. We talk about, and they got a great football team. And I'm picturing myself on a chair right now with my shirt off, waving it, and I'm getting the tomahawk going. You're right. And everybody gets the tomahawk going. And then all of a sudden, when I pull my helmet out from underneath the thing, I got to put a Panther helmet on because it's one of those things to where, as much as I want to see a Stockton team win and that group, I don't know how, Kyle, I understand if he goes the other way. He picked South Fork to win last week over Polo. So I don't know where his football, like mentality of how he picks games goes, Joe.
Well,
I don't know how. Football comes down to a lot of things. And one thing, check these boxes. Has his team playing football at the right time every year? Check. Has his team healthy, ready, in the best possible position every year? Check. Has a field named after him? Check. Right? Could probably ask for anything in Lena right now and would get it. Check. Right? So I don't know how everybody sits here, and if you got a game on the line and you need one game, and you have a game how it went the first time around in week 2, I don't think Coach Arand has more focus than he's ever had in his life with that staff and with those kids. I, without a shadow of a doubt, in the sense of when you talk of the top coaches that you've seen, and I've only been around since mid 90s, right? And you look at a program that year in and year out, you change names and the outcome is the same for the last 15, 16 years.
Right.
If you have one game to win, who are you picking for a coach and a staff?
Yeah.
You have the talent. You have them playing the best football they are. I see a turnaround of game 2, 20-point win, Lena.
20-point win.
I think 15 to 20-point win. I think you're going to watch Stockton here's the thing that Lena gives you that ain't going to be around the first time. Stockton's going to be able to complete the ball. We know that Lena has a hard time with the pass game. They beat Lena up front. I don't see that happening to Dunker and that group again. Like,
right.
When you look in years past too at Lena, Lee Win, better get it right there.
Yep.
There'll be people. You'll
have the Winslow people
we'll
on
have the
your
Winslow
ass.
people on me, because Winslow put the win in Lee Win.
Yep.
You will. I don't know where the hell I was going with that now.
Keep going.
But they will not get beat at the line of scrimmage again like they did in game 1. Like,
right.
when you look back in the last 10 years, the first 4 games with Lee Win, you've always seen them start slow in the beginning of the year, and they play their best football. And I don't know, it's probably getting to know the team, playing kids in different positions, getting kids ready, giving kids chances, whatever
Right.
it is. But they always, by week 7, 8, 9, are different. Stockton has enough to withhold and take care of Wild, who's playing the best football of his career right now, tackle to tackle. Right?
Yep.
What they're going to have in this game is they're going to have the play action pass they didn't have in week 2.
Yep.
And I'm telling you right now, Schlichting is going to go off, because every time he touches the football, he gives me that A.J. Christensen type feel. And not many players give me the A.J. Christensen type feel. A.J. Christensen gave me that like warm,
Fuzzy
feeling in my stomach every time he touched the football. You it's kind of like one of these things. He gets the ball and you kind of do one of these. You're like, you sit up in your chair and you get really excited. Like, here it comes, right? Like he's touching the football. Things are going to happen. Every time he touches the football right now, I get that feeling in your stomach, and you just get the chill going down you. He is playing his best football. He was out for a little bit mid-year. He is healthy and running hard. And if you don't think there's a chip on that shoulder from what happened week 2, what was said on every Facebook story and everything like that, I don't know, man. Like I said, I could be wrong. I've been wrong before, and I admit when I'm wrong, but I've been around a long time and I've told you, Kyle, what I think, and I'm normally not way off.
No.
And I'm telling you right now, if I would give you, and have no problem giving you 15 in Stockton.
Wow. That's a bold pick. I like it. I like bold.
That is.
Yeah, I'm reserving my pick for Saturday, so you got to tune into the show to get my pick.
But
I've had many people trying to get it out of me.
Yeah, but like I said,
I haven't given it.
there's no way I'd be putting no Panther helmet on. That I'd have to like hold it up and go
Kyle,
like that. But
Kyle, how many people you expect to be at that game? You think?
Oh,
You got a ballpark? What do you think?
I would have to speculate we're gonna see 3,000 to 4,000.
you know who the biggest winner of that whole game coming out of that game is going to be?
The 50-50
The
winner.
50-50 winner is going to be
Yeah.
the
Get your
happiest person
tickets.
leaving that game. That's you
Yeah,
better
get
buy
your
one early,
tickets.
you better buy one late. That's what you better do.
Early and often, maybe.
Early and late.
You better buy an arm when you enter, an arm after you go to the concession stand, an
Yeah.
arm before the final drawing.
Yep.
They might run out of tickets.
You never know.
Yeah.
If they're smart, they're gonna stock up on additional.
Nobody's
tickets.
giving half that back this game.
Yeah, no, I think you're gonna have 3,000 to 4,000 people there. I mean, I know people as far as away as 3 hours away that are driving up for this game already.
Yeah.
So
Yeah, it's gonna be
probably
huge. I mean, it's gonna be one of those things you really can't even explain. You really have to be there just to get the whole sense of what it's really gonna be like.
I think in all of small school football, this is by far the biggest game on the docket
since
class 1A, 2A, 3A.
Yeah, and I think it's probably one of the biggest games that there's been since the Forrest and Lena rivalry.
Yep.
With the AJ Christensens and the Lena, because these two teams have set themselves
so far
apart of everybody else. And like I said, not to discredit anything, because Stockton plays a brand of football that you love to watch. It's just, and I don't know if I have a different feeling if Lewin beat him the first time around and Stockton lost that, because I think that would feed you into that Stockton's just going to do what they do normally, but I just think
you're going with the GOAT, and that's what you're resting on.
Well, I go by, if I had a game to win, and you talk any sport when you do it, and you're talking high school football. I mean, you're picking Coach Rand and throwing house money at it right now, baby. We're betting on him.
Yeah.
And like I said, the kids are going to believe everything they're going into, and they got that feeling, and he's going home to where he's at, and what greater feeling that would be. But at the end of the day, what a better atmosphere for these kids of the work they put in from last year to this year.
Right.
I'll be that guy that says it now. Win or lose, everyone is going to, take in this moment, because this is what you play for. When you're in the weight room midsummer, busting it with your friends, this is the type of atmosphere, because even when you go to the state game, you're not going to have this type of atmosphere. And I've been adamant, and Kyle knows the answer to this, and I'm going to ask him, where have I said is the best place to watch a high school football game?
Stockton is the best on my list of places to watch football, because you will be able to stand from me to you, Joe, away right now.
Right.
And watch that game.
I've already had people asking if there's end zones and places to be in the end zone. I said, yep, you can be right on the end zone.
You're going to be right on third base. You're going to be right on third base, and shortstop is where you're going to be. And that's what's so cool about that atmosphere is I would not have the same feel of how great a game it's going to be if it was in Lena, because how their field is set up and what it is.
Right.
And, but at Stockton, their field, you're going to be right on and you're going to be so many deep and, trying to catch a glimpse. It's going to be such a great atmosphere for those kids that put so much time and effort in. It's going to be, like we said, it's going to be an earned win. And again, you're going to see nothing but class on both sides by both programs,
Right.
win or lose, because if Lee Win loses, they're going to be, they're going to understand that. I mean, it's going to take if Stockton does it, they beat one of the top programs twice in 1 year.
Well, and both
Yeah.
staffs know each other so
Yes,
well.
yes, they do.
Right.
And I mean, and they're both state championship caliber staffs. They've
all won
exactly.
state championships. They know what it takes.
I have yet to waver from any of my picks that I've had from the playoff show, if anybody's noticed. And in the playoff show, I picked Stockton.
But
Do I waver my pick on Saturday? Stay tuned.
did I change your mind, Kyle?
No comment. No comment. But yeah, it's going to be a great weekend. Great weekend of football all the way around. We're crowning a state champ this week in 8-man. We're getting ready to head down to Normal for a state championship next week after we get the final results of Saturday's competitions and the climax of what we anticipate to be a great football game in Stockton as well. And again, we get to see another NUIC team in the state championships for the 9th consecutive year. So it's going to be a ton of fun, no doubt about it.
Love it.
Yeah.
Love
Going
it.
to be a great weekend for sure, guys.
Joe, I'll see you on Friday. For everybody else
be
out
there.
there, get out to the games, root for your teams. As always, root for the NUIC.